At HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Red Sox entered the All-Star break with a 2-game lead for the final American League playoff spot after beating Kansas City again yesterday, 5-4 at Fenway Park. Kenley Jansen pitched the last 2 innings for the save and stranded the tying run at second base to end it for Alex Cora.
Gave us a chance to win. Bernie was great. The big boy, he said, I got 2 innings. I'm like, okay, if that's what you want, let's go. Play good defense. Move around well. It was a fun game.
Rafael Devers and Dominic Smith both homered as well in the win. The next game is in L.A. against the Dodgers on Friday night. The first 2 rounds of the first-year player draft took place last night in Fort Worth, Texas. And at number 12 overall, the Sox selected Texas A&M right fielder Braden Montgomery. He fractured his left ankle in the Super Regionals of the college baseball playoffs last month, but he told the media he'll be walking again in 2 weeks. In round 2, the Sox got 6'6", 250-pound TCU lefty Peyton Tolley. The All-Star Game festivities kick into gear tonight with the annual Home Run Derby in Arlington, Texas. The Celtics will continue Summer League play tonight in Las Vegas against Bronny James and the LA Lakers. And the U.S. Olympic basketball team will play another exhibition game today in Abu Dhabi against Australia. The game begins at noon Eastern Time. Kevin Durant out again for the U.S. with a strained calf. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, now open in Weymouth, Canton, Bedford, and Natick. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Boston, the greatest sports town in America.
We have a farm. I have about 200 pigs here.
We get to spill beers on each other without worrying about spilling beers on people.
Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Afraid, hello. Hello. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Open him up with a football.
98.5 The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na 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 na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios. You can call us at 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search 98.5 The Sports Hub, and you can talk to Hardy. He'll talk to you directly. And then we're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Hope everyone enjoyed their weekends. Hope everyone got excited for everything that's coming up this week. My son had a baseball tournament in Maine where he's injured. It's very sad.
Oh, what happened? What happened to the lad?
His shoulder has been bothering him, and then it was bothering him, and but he always used to complain about his arm, and he even knew it, so we were just like, whatever, and then finally he was like, my shoulder's really bothering me, so at 9 o'clock today, I got to call Children's Hospital. I got to find the orthopedics. I got to get him an MRI. ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
So at 9, I gotta finagle away. I might have to have our boy, the intern here, make the call to Boston Children's and then hand me the phone when they get on. If you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
that's going to be a big thing for him. It's one of my Hofstra kids. I mean, I'm giving him a phone and handing it to him. I mean, he's going to have to get it, and then as soon as they answer the phone, he's going to have to say, hi, I'm calling to make an appointment. And then he's going to have to, like, boogie on in here and hand me the phone. Because I got to do it at 9 o'clock, right when they open. Because his mother can't do it. She's got an appointment, a doctor's appointment of her own.
Don't you have some kind of a patient portal or something that you can go on?
You would not during. There's a patient portal where you can request a appointment where they'll call you. to set up the appointment. So, because he needs an MRI, and it's not with his regular doctor, it's with just the orthopedic wing of the hospital. So there's no way to. It's just you can Google it yourself. It comes up with a phone number, and then if you go on the patient portal, it just says you can request an appointment and they'll call you. And who knows when they could call me? They could call me at 4:00 tomorrow. Like if I call today, I get it in there. All right. So, but I had my daughter, and so I told you guys I went to not one but two movies. One at the West Newton Theater where they ask you for extra money. It's not enough that you give them. Because it's old.
Oh, they need extra money to keep the movie theater open.
Yeah, so they ask you for money.
I see.
It's the libraries of movie theaters. It's the library movie theaters. It's
that theater's been there a long time, man.
Yeah. The people that go there are very similar to the people that go to Fenway Park and don't know that they have to use a credit card at the concession stands. A lot of people that look like Larry David from 30 years ago.
Still?
Bald with the, almost the clown hair, like the bald with the Larry Fine hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of that.
It's good to know that I have not been in that movie theater in at least. When did Leaving Las Vegas come out? Because that was the last movie I saw in there. I mean, it's a long time ago. And those kind of people were still going to that movie theater at that time.
Yeah. There's a quote from B.J. Novak, and it insists upon itself. Like, you're a movie theater. Like, get out of here. Like, it's enough. Like, I get it. You're a movie theater. It costs money to go see the movie.
Man.
And they have kids working there. It's a whole situation.
So what did you see there?
So on Friday, I saw Fly Me to the Moon, and it was interesting because I was telling Hardy, I'm like, don't see it's long and boring.
Mm-hmm.
But Scarlett Johansson, I'm like, she's not even like good looking anymore. That good looking anymore. I mean, she's still like a beautiful woman, but not like as vibrant. And sure enough, Hardy said she got a breast reduction. And I said, isn't that interesting? I didn't know that. And here I am saying these things.
So
Hardy gets a thing on his computer, on his phone. It's like an Amber Alert when someone gets a breast reduction.
Focus in now.
Yeah.
Now this woman's coming to more my type.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She got rid of those distractions.
Yeah. Now Scarlett Johansson is in your scope of view.
No, he was kind of like,
oh,
yeah, he wasn't even a big fan of it. But
somebody has theorized that she went from the implants to having the implants removed.
Oh, okay.
But all we know is that they have changed a couple of times in her life.
Okay, so from her early career until her mid-career until her later career.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, because I can't speak to that. Because I never really noticed with her. That's why it's so interesting to me, because I never noticed, but something was off in that movie. I was like, wow, I'm not. And I'll tell you why, because there's a scene where the guy from 21 Jump Street comes in, and he says, like, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And I thought, that's odd because she produced the movie. That's got to be weird. Like, if I was interviewing her, I'd be like, isn't that weird? Like, that you're producing a movie and starring in a movie, and like you obviously like read it and like okayed and like rewrote the script with people, like, and that you kept that in there while you sat there. And she's supposed to be like a woman of 1,000. It doesn't work. The movie's not very good. And then Hardy gives me that bombshell, and I'm like, I truly. Look at me. I even subliminally am in the way that I claim to be. And then on yesterday, because my daughter and I didn't have anything to do late afternoon, she didn't want to go to the pool, where I have not been this year. I saw a movie called Thelma at the West Newton Cinema.
Now this one I don't know.
Where it smells like moss and dust. But it is about a 93-year-old woman. It's played by a 93-year-old woman who finally finds love. It's like the movie from the 70s, Harold and Maude, but with even an older woman. No, I'm just kidding. She gets scammed by online scammers. She sends $10,000 to these people, and then she goes to find who they are, and you can get the money back. And it's actually, my daughter was like, this is boring, this is boring, this is boring. It's only an hour and a half. She said, this is boring, this is boring. In the last half hour, she was laughing so hard that people were staring at her.
Because it was that funny and that good?
Yeah, because she was laughing because she thought it was that funny.
Oh, okay.
She was laughing more than I was. And the thing is, though, I went to the bathroom because I have to go. An hour and a half is too long for me not to go to the bathroom. And when I came back, the woman was laying on the ground because she had fallen, and it wasn't supposed to be funny. And my daughter, after the movie, told me that when the woman fell, she started laughing really hard, and that people were giving her disgust looks because it was supposed to be like a moving scene, like about like when you're old and the real pitfalls of getting older. But it was nice because I looked this morning because I thought I might talk about it today because it's summer, and I looked this morning and I saw that this woman was born in 1928. Like, she's real old. She's like legit old, and she started a movie. And one thing about it, without giving anything away, because I'm sure everyone's going to run out to see it, is that everyone, just like old ladies, everyone she sees, she goes, I might know you. And then, like the joke from, the joke about the grandma going to the wrong house to pick up the kids, the grandkids, and another old lady answers the door, and it's like two dogs looking at each other through a fence.
Never gets old.
Yeah, like she sees these people. It's a woman she thinks she knows at a gas station. She doesn't know the woman. The other woman doesn't know her, but yet there's a 10-minute conversation to be had.
So it's one big gag about how old this woman is.
No, it's not a gag. It's like there's like serious stuff about being old, and then the funny stuff about being old. They don't do it. It's good. It's not like cliched. It's not. They don't do anything like that crazy. Like, she doesn't. It's not over the top. She doesn't, blow a bunch of stuff up and like kill people and everything. It's good.
That's amazing that woman. So I didn't recognize her when I first started looking at it, but she's been in a lot of stuff that a lot of people have seen. She was in Nebraska, which is a pretty.
That was
good...
her breakout role, according to IMDb.
Nah.
No, because that was, I guess, the first time she was recognized. Like, she worked for 6 decades before Nebraska, which is 10 years old.
She was in About Schmidt, though. She plays Jack Nicholson's wife. I'm sure that she probably got some recognition after that. But Scent of a Woman, she's the like the librarian woman. So, yeah, I mean, saw her in a few things, but 94 years old.
Yeah.
Like, show up on set. Know your lines. Hit your marks.
Don't pee
94.
yourself. Yeah.
Right. All that stuff.
Yeah. And, we're talking about how old the president is, and this chick's 12 years older than him, and she's knocking out roles. She's
That's right.
Like, getting it done.
That's right. I'm not all that impressed with him, surviving a near headshot now. Now I know that there's a woman 20 years older than him.
Well, he's not the president. The president is Biden.
He is
He's
still the
former
president. You referred to him as President Trump.
Well, when I was talking about the president, I meant the older one.
Oh,
Biden.
that guy? No, he can't do anything. But,
But I would say this lady's got it together more than him.
Oh. Kind of a low bar.
Wow. Oh, it's an extremely low bar.
Bold. Yes.
But listen, and I voted for Biden. But I mean, I think if you gave Biden, like, because what do you an indie film that's not very expensive to make? How long do you think they get to shoot it? Like, how many days? Like a month?
Maybe a month. Yeah.
You think that if you get in a month and you're not shooting probably every day, so like say you had 20 days to shoot it, 22 days to shoot it, you have confidence that this guy's memorizing the script?
No.
And getting out there and like hitting the marks
No.
and everything?
No.
There's no way.
No.
So give it to her. She and then there's a side story just very quickly about how people a little older than us have babied their adult children well into their lives. So it's a juxtaposition of how the younger generation has been babied and treated, and then like, you know how when your parents get older, they become kind of like children. That's like a theme of it. But then the younger generation has also been treated like children until they've been young adults. They monitor the kid's heartbeat.
I can think of a couple of people
23.
who should go see that movie. It would make them very uncomfortable if they recognize themselves in it a little bit. But no, that's neither here nor there. I wanted to go see the new Tornado movie this weekend. Damn thing doesn't come out until Wednesday.
Oh, my God. Twisters?
I will be there.
You
Why?
like Twister, huh?
Why? Why will you be there?
Well, because I know what happened, and I understand if you never saw Twister, you don't want to go see Twisters because you'll be lost, and you want to understand what's happening.
Right.
But I've seen Twister, so now, naturally, I want to see Twisters.
Yeah, you can't reward Hollywood for making Twisters. you can't give them money. Like, because at least Fly Me to the Moon was an original script.
Yeah, I know.
So, you know, it's pretty cut by numbers crap, but at least it's not Twisters. Like, if you go see Twisters, they're going to make more Twisters.
I've given Hollywood enough of my money for enough of their actual films to where I can go and enjoy Twisters on Wednesday when it comes out and not feel guilty about it.
Well,
I paid for and sat through Oppenheimer. What a boring piece of crap that
Glorious.
was.
Well, you
3
said
hours.
Well, people
On the
insisted
nose.
on that movie as well.
Oh my God! It's really a courtroom drama, huh?
Twisters is starring a guy, because I saw the previews for it for a couple of times at the movies. Twisters is starring a guy that I know only from the front of magazines at the airport. I don't know his name. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen him in anything, and he exists just on the front of magazines at the airport.
I saw him in one movie. He's like the guy now that everyone wants. I saw him in one movie. He plays Hangman in the new Top Gun.
There's another Top Gun.
Top Gun.
I guess
Maverick.
the
the
Gun
one that-
Maverick.
yeah.
I don't even remember
He
him
plays
from that.
Hangman in Top Gun Maverick.
Well, that's not a big role because I don't remember him, and I saw the movie, and I saw it, and I was of right mind. I was not under any intoxicants when I saw it, and I don't remember him in it at all.
Well, I just now seen before. I thought about. I was pretty sure I was going to go on Wednesday when the movie came out, but now that I am looking at it, I see that Maura Tierney is in the film. I will definitely be there.
Good
Yeah.
seeing her back at it again.
Big fan.
So no one
big fan.
She should have been part of the bracket more. Tierney.
No one sit within a couple seats of Hardy, or you might catch some of the aftershot.
Hyde Park's own Maura Tierney.
Yeah, it's going to be a Pee Wee Herman situation.
I went with Fred when they first opened the Showcase, Super Lux, really, really nice theater in Chestnut Hill. And we got invited, like, maybe maybe the midday show and the morning, but Fred and I were the only ones who accepted the invitation. And we went. It was a double date. Do you remember what movie we saw, Fred?
It was the one with the guy from Parks and Recreation. It was a science fiction movie.
Yes. And it is one of my favorite movies.
I didn't like it. I did not care for it at
You
all.
did not care for it at all.
I don't remember the name of it.
Pacific Rim.
Oh, yes.
Kaijus, Jaegers,
Yes, Pacific Rim. That's the sequel to the movie that only Hardy likes as well.
to beat the monsters. We built monsters of our own.
Is it Idris Elba in the second one or
Idris Elba's in the first one, not in the second one.
Okay.
The second one is unwatchable.
not? What was the first one called?
Pacific Rim.
Oh, I thought. What was the sequel called? What was the sequel called?
I believe Uprising.
Oh,
Pacific
okay.
Rim
There you go.
Uprising.
I got it.
It's not good. It's not good. You want to know why? Because they bring the kids in. It's a Steven Spielberg tool. You know what? This movie might suck. Let me incorporate a couple of kids in here so people can't hate on it as much. And he's done it with some of his most successful movies of all time. I mean, E.T. is essentially kid character based. But yeah, he brings the kid. They bring the kids in for Pacific Rim Uprising. Not good. But the first one, I watched it again last week for a little while it was on. Legitimately sit down and watch that movie.
Okay.
That's good stuff.
Pacific Rim.
All right. Hardy, what's coming up? What happened yesterday? I need to know.
A little bit of baseball, a little bit of tennis, a little bit of golf, and some soccer where things went kooky down there in Miami.
All right. So we'll figure out everything in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what's going down?
Big set for the Red Sox over the weekend as they head into the All-Star break, playing the best baseball of virtually any team, going back for the last 20, 25 games. And they had Kansas City in town, split the first two games, and then yesterday...
Swinging a drive, right field. He smashed this one.
Oh, smashed like an old hamburger between two buns.
Oh, Smash Burger, that's new.
Smash burger. Good burger.
Swinging a drive, right field. He smashed this one. Deep in the corner and gone.
Keenan and Kelly.
Dave.
3. He is some kind of hot heading into the All-Star break.
Some kind of wonderful redhead. Two of them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you to Nesson for that, as the Red Sox would go on to win 5-4, courtesy of that and this.
Fly ball here by Smith. That's a deep drive by Dom. Way, way back. And kiss it goodbye. But the Red Sox launching right away against KC. Dom Smith with number 5. A 2-run shot.
There we go. So Devers sitting at, I believe, 28 home runs now. So most at this point in the season since J.D. Martinez and Dom Smith there with the 2-run home run. Red Sox win the series, take 2 or 3 from Kansas City heading into the All-Star break. Now, Wallach, what home run did Rafael Devers break the seat out in
Yes.
out in right?
Yes.
Home run. He broke the top of the seat. The top.
Yes.
line became unhinged.
Breaktheseat.com. Large ladies relieving themselves.
So this is a home run ball.
Seatbreakers.com.
That links to my account. The other one linked to Joe's. That one links to mine.
Yes. Scale Breakers is
now
Joe.
on this account, is it physical acts that are breaking the seat, or are they just the broken seats themselves?
The
that are
broken
photos?
seats, and then you may purchase them via the dark web.
Oh,
Yes.
Are there-
So, yes. Who broke the seat? Yes. 1 or 2, yes. And then,
are there certificates of authenticity?
yes, sealed with a kiss.
Yeah. What are what's the provenance of these items? Are they authenticated before they are auctioned?
Yes, I will authenticate them. I am like a sommelier. The smell and the taste.
So the Red Sox are.
But
That's fine.
okay.
No, you're good. You're fine.
Okay.
Fenway Facilities has their own
Ooh.
social.
Fenway facilities? Do they have a webcam?
No, it's not that type of facility. It's like the maintenance workers and the people who just take care of things in the park. And
Yeah.
I suppose the bathrooms might fall under that category. But they tweeted out a photo of the broken seat, and it was the top slat of
Top
the,
portion.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
top
it's called
portion
the slat.
broke off.
It's called the slat.
from the force of the home run.
You can tell the authenticity of the commode based on the damage to the slat. If it's a horizontal crack, you can say, hey, it's a vertical crack. Yeah, that's right. That sounds about right.
That tracks.
That tracks.
The MLB draft was yesterday.
Yeah,
They do all
that.
Last night.
Well,
They don't take high school kids anymore.
But they did, how many rounds?
First 2 rounds last night, 3 through 10 today, and then the rest of it after that.
Right. How many
I think
rounds
it's 3
total
through-
are there?
What's that?
How many total rounds?
A billion.
They have
Yeah,
the Mike
there's like-
There
Piazza
are a
round.
billion rounds.
Well, Mike
Seriously.
Piazza got taken as a favor, remember, to his father.
Yep.
And he's a Hall of Famer.
But let's hear from this Travis Bazzana, who is
Yes, number 1 overall.
selected by the Cleveland Guardians.
Australian
Yes.
kid, cricket, rugby, everything you would think of from Australia. He played at Oregon. He is a big Australian shortstop kid.
Congratulations. What does being the number 1 overall pick mean to you, Travis?
It means a lot. It's hard to put it in words, but it means everything. I think that, yeah.
Yeah, Australia, you got to give them a break. It's Australians, not their first language, English.
All right.
Really
Impressive. He wowed him at the combine.
Can't wait to get this kid.
It means a lot. It's hard to put in words, but it means everything. I think that,
yeah, I think that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's awesome. Super.
So now the timeline for someone like this selected first overall, has it changed at all in recent years? Is there anyone that comes up and is like legitimately ready to go starting lineup?
Skeens, right?
Yeah.
Skeens was, yeah. Okay, there you go.
Skeens, number one overall.
Yeah, there's a couple things
first
that
year.
there are a couple things that have been happening in the draft. Is like as I mentioned before, their high school kids just aren't going. And especially high school pitchers, which makes sense. They don't want to take chances on these guys and have to pay to develop them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're almost exclusively in the high rounds taking college players. If you look at the draft, I think the first, I think wait, what? Just say it on the air. Jesus Christ!
Of the first 16 picks, I think 13 of them were high-level college players.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then I think 9th was the first high school player to go, and a pitcher didn't go until the 20s, a high school pitcher. So, and I was looking at the local kids. There's a kid from Dexter Academy that's a catcher, and a pitcher that gets 6'10" pitcher in Worcester. There's not a lot of like prep kids, I guess, that would go in the draft. And they're both probably going to college, I guess.
You were talking about first overall pick. Skeens was last year. Jackson Holliday, who's already made the majors for Baltimore, was 2 years ago. 3 years ago, Henry Davis, who was a catcher. He's been to the majors for Pittsburgh. I mean, all of these. Adley Rutschman 4 years ago. If you're the number one overall pick, you're expected in a year, 2 years max to get to the majors.
Yeah, especially since it's college talent. And if I just know the Cardinals had a top 10 pick, which they haven't had in like 2 decades, and you're expected to hit with these. This is not you're expected. Kids in the top 10 you're expected as a GM to make the right decision. You have especially now because you have years and years and years and years of information on these kids. It's not taking a shot at some prairie kid that's throwing through a tire in Nebraska, Mickey Mantle style. This is the real deal. They got all kinds of information on these guys.
One more baseball note: as the Yankees were in Baltimore taking on the Orioles yesterday, had a 5-3 lead in the 9th. Orioles up to bat.
Verdugo.
Remember Alex Verdugo?
Oh, yeah.
A flare out to left field. Starting in is Verdugo. He has to go back. He has to go back, and he misjudged it. It is over his head, and the Orioles slide is going to end. O'Hearn is in. Rutschman is in. Mullins is your hero. The Orioles walk it off 6-5. A terrible mistake by Verdugo and left.
Oh,
boy,
they're hiring younger and younger for these play-by-play guys.
Yeah, well, it's Baltimore. They don't. The old owners didn't want to spend any money.
He's 13, that kid.
They listen. Lord knows what they're paying. Do the radio broadcast in Baltimore?
Man,
I mean, you might be talking about. It's like hard for him to eat. But I believe there was 2 errors in the 9th inning for the Yankees.
There was the shortstop.
Volpe. Right?
That's right. That's right. That was on the Mountcastle grounder into the fielder's choice to shortstop. Cowher scored. Rutschman saves a second. Error by shortstop. And then that put more runners in scoring position for Mullins, who then I haven't seen it. Did Verdugo like fall down?
No, he just misplayed it. But the thing is that the Yankees had a chance after how terrible they've been of late to sweep Baltimore, and then they made 2 errors going into the All-Star break to lose the game, which is very upsetting to every national radio personality who is a Yankee fan.
I agree. Well, just a quick note on the Red Sox draft pick at number 12, that kid Braden Montgomery. Apparently he's got more power than anyone in the draft. He's got a great arm for a right fielder, but he broke his ankle during the playoffs during the Super Regionals for Texas A&M, and when he walked up to, he was actually there at the draft. He had a mammoth walking boot on his ankle, which raised a few questions, but apparently he's going to start walking again. This guy would have been a top 10 pick. The ankle knocked him down a little bit. Apparently the Red Sox got a steal at 12.
Oh, Jesus Christ. A broken ankle?
Apparently. That's
get
what knocked
out
him
of
down.
town. A broken ankle. I know that I saw that he was a consensus top 10 player.
Yep.
70 grade power. Okay.
80 grade arm.
Yeah, I guess he's got
apparently a cannon.
Yeah, he's got a big arm. All right. Well, very good. He looks like he's 2. How does that kid have all that power? He's not a large boy.
Switch hitter. Apparently obviously very talented, but they're not expecting
Carlson?
him to be in the minors for long.
All right. Well, look, there's no way he misses, especially with that ankle break. I mean, if he's so good in a broken ankle, made teams not take him.
That's the only thing I can think of. Why else would he have dropped?
What do I know? It just doesn't that seem stupid?
Of course.
Yeah, that seems like it's not like
All
he
you
had
do
Tommy
is-
John surgery.
Unless he shattered it, no. But by all accounts, he's going to be fine.
He's
in
a
about
young
month.
man with,
Yeah.
I would assume, bones that heal. I wouldn't think that would stop his success that
wasn't
much.
a gruesome injury either. He's sliding into home, but didn't turn the thing over. It's just an awkward planting of the foot. So
there you go. All right. When we come back, Hardy, what will we have?
Big day for Spain. It was a big day for Scotland, and it was a big night in Miami.
All right. So we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox beat Kansas City 5-4 at Fenway Park yesterday. They take 2 of 3 from the Royals. They lead Kansas City by 2 games for the final playoff spot in the American League, entering the All-Star break. Next game for the Red Sox in it.
when I was maybe 10, 11 years old. And because there was nothing else on. There was 5 channels. And I'm like, I guess I'm going to watch Wimbledon. And I learned how to score tennis by sitting there watching a men's final. Could probably go back and figure out which one. I know McEnroe was in the final. And you just figure it out. It's like
probably beat Borg, who we played every year.
Yeah, it feels like it was probably McEnroe and Bjorn Borg, and it was instead of 1, it's 15, and then 15-30, and deuce, add in, add out. Oh, okay. So here we are now, many years later, and Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic were facing off in what appeared was going to be a rematch of last year's 5-set epic marathon. The first game alone took, I believe, 14 minutes to complete. Nearly 20 points were played. It was deuce. It was deuce after deuce after deuce. And Carlos Alcaraz would go on to break serve.
So you're saying heaven.
Right, right. He would go on to... I believe 2 out of the first 4 games, he broke serve against Novak Djokovic twice.
2. Yeah.
En route to a 3-set sweep, 6-2, 6-2, 7-6 to win his second straight Wimbledon title. And this is the 5th time in Djokovic's career he's been beaten in straight sets in a final. So Carlos Alcaraz.
Alcaraz is not going to be beaten at Wimbledon anymore. He's going to have a long reign on the grass.
He's 4-0 in major finals already. I've been waiting for someone to step forward and become someone who rules tennis, who's not Nadal, Federer, or Djokovic, who have had it between the 3 of them for 15 years?
Yeah.
So I'm glad there's some new blood here. I'm maybe more people start watching this sport. This guy pisses people off. He puts his hand to his ear like a Hulk Hogan style.
Oh, my God.
But
audacity of the young man.
I guess what I'm saying is somebody in this sport shows some personality, albeit small.
Djokovic did. I mean, when he yelled at the crowd for being mean to him.
That's right. That's right.
When he told them to stop, that they stop booing him and that he didn't like it, that they should be classier.
And that who was he playing? Someone that sounded like
someone who sounded like Boo. It was like Rue or something.
Rude, R-U-U-D.
Yeah,
yes.
I guess so.
Yeah, but Djokovic was having none of that. No. I know what you're doing. You're being mean to me.
Yeah,
right.
I don't care for it.
And this is tennis, and I think you should be a little classier.
Yeah, right.
So that was one big moment for Spain yesterday with Alcaraz winning, and then. In the Euro 2024 final, Spain was facing off against England. Nico Williams scored for Spain in the 47th minute. Cole Palmer scored the equalizer for England, but it was Mikel Oyarzabal in the 86th minute to put Spain over the top and to win it all. It was very exciting. I'm sure we were all watching.
Was there a riot after, like there was after the Copa America?
Well,
that was before.
The riot was before. After,
the riot was before?
Yes. At the end, it sounded like this.
And the clock strikes midnight on Colombia's unbeaten run. Messi has done it again. Argentina has done it again. They have gone back-to-back as Copa America champions.
But before
Colombia is so big, I can't believe the United States keeps beating them. I mean, the idea that Colombia, with all the people that live there, has put together such a better soccer team than a nation that seems to care. I mean, Colombia probably has 8 people living there.
Yeah.
Now, listen, my uncle was in Colombia for some time for the DEA.
I bet he was.
And my aunt and my cousins had to move because they were always threatening to blow him up. He was over there in Bogota, just like in the show. What was the show that was just on about the big drug dealer there, the coke dealer? My uncle was there while he was there. Yep, on air. Go ahead.
It's called Narcs.
Is that the one about
Narcos?
Narcos.
Narcos,
yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
And what was the name of the big drug dealer?
Pablo Escobar.
Pablo Escobar.
El Jefe.
Yeah, my uncle was there. Now, my uncle is not cool at all.
What?
He's a huge dork. He's a big dork and a strange man.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care for him one bit.
Okay.
But he was there. I'm not bragging. I don't like him. I don't want to ever see him again. He's a odd fellow.
Oh.
I don't like him or my aunt. But he was there in Bogota, Colombia. And I got to tell you, he said to me, this is all about soccer. The United States could never beat this team because they're so big. There's so many people. I'm kidding. Absolutely. It's a jungle nation where there's
50 million people. The U.S. population is 330 some. So the population of more than 6 times.
Yeah. You would assume that we could get it together. And I would assume this country has more money and more independent wealth that you could put into training people to play the game.
So I don't know anyone who's done this. Actually, one person who did a small version of this, but I've heard of this a couple of times recently, Fred. People going to Colombia for vacation. Do you know why you go to Colombia for vacation?
No.
To do the best, purest cocaine that you can find.
Oh.
And this is a thing. Now, a friend of a friend was diagnosed with a terrible disease. He's about our age. And his wife said, go off and you do whatever you want, for the next 6 months or so before things get really bad. He said, okay. And I actually met up with him, this, friend of mine. He was in Vegas at the time with his buddy. And they were having a great time. They were doing all the Vegas stuff. And we were talking and like, what's next? And, skydiving, you're going to climb Mount Everest. And he said, no, his ne'er-do-well brother-in-law was taking him to Colombia. For what? And he said, as it is my understanding, cocaine. And the deal is you go, I don't know what town you go to. I don't know if you go to Bogota. I don't know if you go to Medellin. I don't know where you go. But there are a couple of borderline resort towns, somewhat safe, where this is the practice. Bunch of, youngish, oftentimes Americans, go there. You go to a bar, and it is legal to gift up to a certain amount, a couple of grams of cocaine. You can't buy it, but everyone knows what you're there for. So other guys will come up to you and say, hey, you're in town, you're partying, huh? You want to buy us around here? The guy says, oh, sure. So you buy around for this guy or, him and his buddies. And he says, that was really nice. Here, let me give you something. And they give you the cocaine. You just have to, give them enough money for a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, couple of rounds of beers, or actually buy the beers. And it's so plentiful and so pure and so awesome. So I didn't speak with him afterward, but I talked with my buddy who knows him. He said, hey, how did his trip go? And he said it was amazing. Like you go down there and people are hanging out and they rented a house and girls come by and spent like the week with them at the house. And it was not like the stuff that you would do here, which you can't even do anymore because it's all laced with fentanyl and it will kill you. But this stuff, you party for a few hours and then you go to sleep and then you wake up the next day and then you go do it again. Had I known about this, say 25 years ago
in your other life,
and that were a thing, oh boy.
Okay, so 2 things is that combine the women with the cocaine and the trust, it sounds like there's like a lot of things that could go sideways in this whole affair.
Everything.
When you bring up prostitutes in for a week along with drug dealers, that seems like that could go sideways, but that's not even my problem. Is that so the guy has a terminal illness, you're saying, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't the hangover from the cocaine, knowing that you were going to die, like be almost insurmountable, and then you would get super addicted to coke? Like, how is he going to stop doing coke? Because I would imagine when you're on the coke and you're intoxicated, it makes it better, and you don't think about dying. But then when you wake up, the depression and then like the obsessive thoughts on dying, you would almost have to get it annihilated right away. Like your waking thoughts would be so terrible. I don't mean to bring the room down.
No,
but like
no.
But it would be like if you were gonna die, like to escape. Like I could almost see doing heroin, because you would just like nod off and then but cocaine, like it just seems like when you got up, it would just be this terrible lack of dopamine and serotonin going through your body.
I never did heroin, but it is my understanding, because we've all seen the films, that it is a horrible, insatiable physical need and addiction that you have for it. Cocaine doesn't work that way. Once it's out of your system, it might be a psychological craving, but it's not a physical craving.
No. But the physical craving for cocaine, you assume that you're dead by the time it really is a huge problem. But it's not speed. So I don't think that depression coming off of heroin is crushing as much as like coke is. And I've never done either. But my understanding is cocaine, like it's no fun the next day. Like the next day's bad.
That is correct.
Because your brain has used all the dopamine, right? Like you're like fresh out. So I would think that if you were depressed going into it, it would be fun while you were doing it. And maybe like if you did it for like a weekend, but if you went for a week, like you'd be doing so much blow. Like I don't know how you just get on a plane and come home and go like, that was fun. It seems like that would be a pretty rough plane ride. Like I'm coming home to die. Like, it seems like I'd almost like want to like start accepting things on it as they are rather than taking something to like.
Which is why we should all do it now before we're diagnosed with a terminal illness. Wallach, what do you say?
Boom. And it's only responsible to do it in Colombia.
Wallach, you in?
Holy Wednesdays at 9.
I only want to go with the right crew, and I'm thinking out of this room, it's Wallach and Nick. I don't think.
Well, Nick's heart. Well, like you'll have a dead body on your hands. I'll tell you this: is that what could go wrong with a bunch of Colombian whores and drug dealers coming by the house twice a day?
Which is why you need the ne'er-do-well brother-in-law to orchestrate and know about these things and take you on it. You can't. I mean, you're not going to find.
You're not parachuting in alone. No.
Well, you're not.
I think you're better off alone.
You do?
Hell yeah, I think you're better off alone.
I don't know.
You're better off alone. They kill you. There's then you're dead, and then they can't get anything off you. There's two of you. They can hold one of you hostage and have the other one run around getting all this money.
Boy, you're going to a dark place without coming down off the coke binge.
My goodness.
You don't need it.
I know. My bad, kids. Don't let me dissuade you.
Thank you. You're ruining this for me and everyone else.
No,
don't take a buddy. Die alone.
If you go to Vegas and get a bunch of whores for a week in cocaine, like there's like some set of like standards and rules. Like if you get ripped off, it's going to be like at gunpoint, they're going to take stuff and leave. Like in Colombia, it sounds like they're going to harvest organs. Like there's going to be a whole situation.
These organs are no good.
They take you. Well, whatever's got cancer and it's not any good. But whatever doesn't have cancer, you could probably still take a shot at. And what do they care as long as it's an organ? It's not like the guy putting the bootleg organ into someone who's going to look at it and like discover it.
They got tests.
I don't know about that. If it's coming in a.
No, it's like
wrapped
it's
in
like a test strip for the hot
freeze-dried?
tub. You swipe it across the liver and see if it's any good.
Store it in an old sock. Here, take it.
I don't know if I'd want a liver transplant from a cadaver that was taken in a tub. I was thinking more of like a spleen.
How about would you get a spleen transplanted?
Okay,
they take
kidney.
they take spleens out and throw them away.
Yeah, I know. I should have said kidney. My bad. Because you can still live. You don't get the murder charge.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. I found that very interesting. I'm glad that you told that story. Colombia as a vacation for whores and coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that once you're 25, that should probably not be on the menu anymore. It's too much to lose. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Oh, Hardy, it's hot out there. We got nothing.
Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group station.
Sports Hub headlines.
Rafael Devers and the Red Sox have reached the All-Star break at 11 games over 500.
Swinging a drive, right field. He smashed this one. Deep into the corner and gone. Number 23. He is some kind of hot heading into the All-Star break.
That's Dave O'Brien on Nesson. The Red Sox beat Kansas City for a second consecutive day yesterday, 5-4 at Fenway Park. Kenley Jansen submitted the first two-out regular season save of his career to end it while stranding the tying run at second base. The Sox lead is 2 games on the Royals for the final playoff spot in the American League. The next game isn't until Friday night when they open up a 3-game series in L.A. against the Dodgers. Major League Baseball's first-year player draft began last night. With the 12th overall selection, the Red Sox wound up with Texas A&M outfielder Braden Montgomery. And in round 2, the Sox took 6'6", 250-pound TCU lefty Peyton Tolley. The home run derby is tonight. American League home run leader Gunnar Henderson and 2-time champion Pete Alonso are among those in the field. The Celtics play the Lakers tonight in Las Vegas as Summer League play continues. Current Summer League roster player Ron Harper Jr. has been signed to a non-guaranteed training camp contract. And Team USA plays Australia today in Abu Dhabi as their 5-game exhibition schedule continues. Kevin Durant is out again with a sore calf. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by L&F Electrical Services. Don't spend another summer suffering from the heat. Have a mini split system installed by L&F Electrical Services and keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Visit lfelectricalservice.com. Proudly veteran-owned and operated. That's lfelectricalservice.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian.
This is Boston's home for sports.
Bow, bow, bow.
98.5, the Sports Hub. You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Oh, take a little while. Every time I see this, I just think of them bopping down the stage. We're Toucher and Hardy. Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 617-779-0985. You can also watch us on YouTube. And we dressed up for you today. You can go to youtube.com/ search 98.5 The Sports Hub. Everyone saw what happened to Donald Trump. We were talking before the show about it, and Lockhart said something. It's interesting that just how desensitized we are to everything now, that it's not something that, you know, it's on the news all the time and everything like that, and it's going to be the big thing on the news and the newspapers and everything else. But it's not something like I talk to like a ton with my friends and stuff like that. And I was at a restaurant. It was Saturday. Saturday it happened, right? Was it Saturday?
Yeah.
So I was at Gin's in Wellesley with my daughter. And they have 2 TVs up there. And they said breaking news. And I went, and my first thing was like what breaking news? And then it was Trump got shot. Or so there was a shooting at the Trump rally. But at first they didn't know if it was fireworks. They said something that sounded like gunshots happened at the Trump rally. Like this, so this was like right at the beginning of it. And then during the course of our dinner, they had talked about how there were gunshots. That's where it was by the time I left, and that Trump's ear was bleeding. And if you looked around the restaurant, which was full, when they first announced it, I'd say everyone's eyes were on the televisions. And by the time they announced that it was gunshots, there was probably 1/5 of the people were still looking at the television. Everyone had resumed their conversations. So it was, we have one thing the internet has given us, and constantly in our phones and constantly being bombarded by news, is that we are completely desensitized to it. I just saw that. The one thing I'll say about that Fly Me to the Moon movie is that, like, how many 1,700,000, like the amount of people watching the moon landing in real time,
right,
was that events like that, I just don't think are going to happen anymore. Like, we just are so bombarded with information.
Oh, yeah, with 1 billion people all over the planet stopped and watched and did nothing while that was happening, and everybody watched it as it was going. And I was the same way, Fred. I saw something come across my phone about, shots being fired, and there was, the initial photo of Trump either, ducking down or, dropping after the shots, and I just scrolled past it. I was like, oh, that's wild, and didn't think anything of it. And it was my wife later on. Everybody was home, and she said something to the effect of, "Did you hear something about a shooting at the Trump?" I'm like, "Yeah, I saw something about it." And so we turned on, not expecting anything to be on the news, just turned on, a local affiliate that had a network affiliation to see if it was on, and sure enough, and then that's my check. Oh, is this truly a big thing? Let's check NBC. Let's check ABC, because you can't go to CNN or Fox because they're going to be rolling on this all the time anyway. That's what they do. Have the other networks preempted America's Funniest Videos or whatever is supposed to be going on, and everybody had gone. And I sat and watched it for a couple hours because. Yeah. But this was the other fascinating thing to me, Fred. You realize that in watching this, whether it's Fox or CNN or NBC, ABC, CBS, they're all trying to verify and source these reports that are coming out. And it was the first time I found Twitter to be useful in a long, long time. Because if you wanted at least just some raw, unfiltered, unsourced information, that's where I went. And that was the first time while this was all happening, I saw the BBC interview with the guy, because they're all they're sitting there on the NBC
doctor with
and
blood on his shirt.
Well, no. Like on Fox and on CNN, they're all doing there was a shooting, and we're trying to determine where the shots are coming from. Go on Twitter. Here's a BBC clip of a guy standing there with this dude. It looked like he had one of those novelty visors on. He had a red beard, but he had a bunch of red hair on top.
I didn't see that one.
I'm like, oh, I think that's a fake thing on top. I've seen those. And the guy's like, oh, no, the shooter was on top of this building right here, and we were telling the police and Secret Service, anyone who would listen, we saw the guy crawling around up there with a rifle for about 2 or 3 minutes, and we tried to get someone to go up there and do something about it. And nobody did, and then we heard the shots ring out. Okay, so it's not sourced, it's not verified, it's one BBC guy on the ground with a microphone, but that was on Twitter. I said, oh, well, this sounds like is what happened, and that there was other stuff coming out there. Now, for every one of those, there's 10 pieces. There's 10 pieces of crap,
at least,
or 100 or 1,000 pieces of crap.
Yeah, and why do you need the information right at that second?
Because
there's a reason they vet the information.
Yeah, there's a right. You really got to dig to find what you're talking about. Hardy. That isn't readily available. You have to really search for it.
But also, you don't need the information right away. I'd rather have the correct information than the information immediately. What happened. Now it's just why it happened and how it happened, and I don't need to know that. It does me no good to know it right away. I'd rather, when I find out about it, have it be correct. Oh, that's the guy that they say did it?
Yeah.
Who would have known?
But I'm really enjoying all the conspiracy theories, and I really didn't.
Well,
think
that's another thing is you think that it's fake.
That would happen this time. I'm very, very surprised to learn that there are all these theories as to what really happened.
Of course.
Yeah, that's another thing is that that immediately you go, I wonder if that's real. That's where we're at too. Is that you say, I wonder if that's real, like when in the immediacy of it, or is it that big a deal? It's almost like you're like, oh God, this is going on now. Like that I got to go pay attention to this, and this is real. Is this what's happening? But it is interesting because like a moon landing, like I honestly think if they came out and they said we have an alien, which I would not be overly surprised happens in our lifetime if someone's like, we don't know what this is. Like this is something, it's something from somewhere that we've never seen before. that we would all just be like, huh.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
What's the agenda here? Do they really have one? Well, it's mighty close to an election.
Or,
like,
if it would have happened 40 years ago, people would have gone like, it would have been
crazy.
Everyone would have stopped. They would have canceled school.
They would have canceled school, like when the Challenger blew up. Like, it would have just been this thing that everyone saw, and like, oh my God, alien. And then it would permeate culture forever. It would just be in a sea of crap that were just constantly being thrown at us. We would just be like, huh, aliens.
Yeah.
But I was equating it to the last time there was an assassination attempt that we knew about or was captured was when John Hinckley Jr. tried to shoot or did shoot Reagan, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was on my 10th birthday. And that is just anybody who was alive and old enough at that time. John, you were well into college.
Out of college.
There's a call about that. Ben, go ahead.
Freddie, baby.
What's up, Benjamin?
Twitch Nation loves you still. Hey, the whole thing about, Fred, I think you turned 49 this year, so that was the same age that John was when Kennedy was assassinated back in 1963. So what was that like for him?
Yeah.
John, what was that like? Were you immediately skeptical about the magic bullet?
A lot of conspiracy theories, second shooter, grassy knoll. That was well debated in my time.
Like that the nation, like, I guess if you look back on it, like there was this like intense mourning time, like it shifted like mourning, like MOUR.
Yes.
Like this nation mourning, like it shifted the culture permanently. Like the innocence of the nation kind of like went away then.
Yes.
Do you think like anything like that would happen again? Like,
nope.
I don't think that it would. If someone got assassinated, that it would totally shift the
Honestly,
way that the attitude of the nation, the culture.
Yeah, Hardy, what you're talking about watching 2 hours of coverage and searching on Twitter, I'm sure you were in the vast minority.
Oh, absolutely.
People wanted. I think the majority of people said, "Is Trump okay? Did he walk away? Was he shot anywhere? Oh, is it the ear click?"
I think the majority.
I don't think anyone cared after that.
Or people went and just got into their chat groups or their little bubbles and started going, okay, let's break down what really happened.
There was somebody who posted online, I don't know if you saw this, a guy said, for times like this, there should be a live podcast where people can talk about the information as it's happening and let you know their thoughts on it and bring you all the information in a live podcast form. And somebody replied to it, it's called radio. And that is, you freaking moron. God, I'd love to listen to a live podcast.
Jesus God.
Well, first of all, there are live podcasts, so that's dumb anyway. Did you what was the first dumb, obvious tweet you saw about it? Because I can tell you mine. Because when I went on Twitter, I did look for the most obvious dumb one, like just like a sentiment that was just horrible in its obviousness. And mine came from our own Bert Breer.
Oh.
Okay. July 13th, Bert Breer, out of the people I follow, was the first to tweet about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Bert Breer said, "Don't care who the candidate is. This shouldn't happen in our country, period. End of story." Just unbelievable.
That's going to be tough to beat.
1.5 million views, 27,000 likes. 27,000 people went, yeah.
Give that a like.
I don't see how you can beat. How can you beat
it? It
that?
had to be said.
You can't beat that. I defy anyone to find me a tweet better.
I don't care who it is.
But
assassination attempts. Not good. I don't care who it is. What side of the aisle you're on.
You're just jealous that Bert had a purely original thought and had the wherewithal to put it in print and send it out.
Well, he was putting out fires because everyone was going nuts. But, I mean, finally someone in the sports media could come out and go, whoa, 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 whoa.
Relax.
Whoa. This is unacceptable.
Right.
I don't like guys on roofs shooting people. Come on.
Dan
was on. Where was Twitter during 9/11 so Bert could go, look, I don't care who you root for. Don't be flying planes into buildings. All right? Thank you.
Guys. Guys.
This 9/11 thing, no bueno.
Yeah.
I don't care what your affiliations are.
Dan Roach agrees with me. He just texted me. He said, I was right there with you, Hardy. That BBC interview was compelling, and you could tell the guy was on adrenaline and was sincere, strange, but you could just tell.
Well,
you know what it is? Just very quickly? It was the video aspect of it. It wasn't some statement, from some random, random blue check mark that said, there's multiple shooters now, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, you just scroll past that. That's dumb. You don't know anything. But this, I had the BBC, ghost logo on it, and the guy had a British accent. Good enough for me. And it ended up being authentic.
And good for Dan for discrediting his own network and relying on the faceless people of Twitter for his information.
It was a colleague from the BBC.
No, I know, but you framed it as like a Twitter thing, that you were so happy for Twitter. And I was happy for Twitter too, because Bert put out the flames of what discourse has gotten like in this nation and said, slow down. One more time before we go to break, I'll read you what Bert said. Bert said, don't care who the candidate is. This shouldn't happen in our country. Period. End of story. Just unbelievable.
That's not appropriate there.
Isn't it insane you have to say don't care who the candidate is right before endorsing the idea of people not being murdered because you're afraid one side is going to go bonkers on you defending somebody?
Don't read the replies. You're not going to like it.
No, well, I mean, listen, you throw a powder keg out there like Bert did, and you got to expect to get really attacked. I mean, Bert really put himself on what a dumb thing to have to feel like you need to just take a step back. You're on it too much. Because before I went to bed, I said, I wonder what one of these idiots I follow said. And there he was. Right there. His obvious statement. Whoa.
Guys.
Come on, guys. I don't care who the candidate is. We can't have snipers up on top of roofs trying to shoot people.
Like, give him a pass. He was 9 White Claws deep down there in Duxbury. He's just
he might have been on the tuck
away.
He might have been tucking it in on the tuck. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Today we're Toucher and Hardy. And the Red Sox took a kid named Braden Montgomery from Texas A&M. He was a consensus top 10 pick. They took him at 12. But he is not the star of the draft. Did you see the guy that Seattle took?
I turned it off after the Red Sox selected. So
what network did you watch it on?
MLB.
So you saw the guy with the cowboy hat?
Yes, I did.
Who was that?
That was, hang on, J.J. Weatherholt, West Virginia.
No. Who had the cowboy hat on? It was the guy from the MLB network. He was talking to other people.
The kids afterwards. I don't know. I don't know who.
It was very strange, Hardy. Yeah. He had like a big. It was almost like Burt Reynolds on the SNL Jeopardy. He had a big cowboy hat on, and he didn't take it off. Like he had it on the whole time. And you were like, and then I just saw today that it was held in Texas, the draft.
Fort Worth, yeah.
So I guess that's why he had the cowboy hat on. But it was quite a statement to be making. If I was the producer of that, I would have said, take that off immediately. Just take it off. It's very distracting. But the Seattle Mariners took a kid from Curacao that played at Mississippi State. Right-handed and left-handed pitcher. Throws right-handed and left-handed. Has a plus fastball right-handed and a plus slider left-handed. And they asked him after he was drafted, would he want to pitch right-handed or left-handed? And he said, I want to pitch both, which I have seen. The Red Sox played the A's, and I went specifically with my son, got garbage seats by the visiting bullpen so we could watch this kid. And luck had it, I don't think he pitched in the game, but they got him up to warm up. And he had a glove with 6 finger holes. And when I told my son this, I said, it had 6 finger holes. Do you remember? And he goes, he had 6 fingers? What?
Pat Venditti is the guy you're talking about.
Why? He had 6 fingers?
Yeah.
And I said, no. There were 2 thumb holes in it. Why? He had thumbs on 2. Where was the other thumb? Was it in the middle of his head like a unicorn, Dad? I don't know. Hey, Dad, what gives? Why were there 6 holes? Why are these birds chirping by my window? Dad, these birds, they've gone bonkers now. You gotta move. Dad, move.
This kid,
the kid from, but the kid, so he had 6 holes in his glove because he, 2 thumb holes. And while he was warming up, they were like, I guess, screwing with the Red Sox because he was warming up. He was warming up both sides. Mm-hmm. It was really something to behold. So they asked the kid, they're like, how did you learn how to throw left-handed or right-handed? And he goes, my dad was a catcher, and I always looked up to my dad. This is true, and he said, my dad, I would pretend to leave my mitt at home, so I would use my dad's catcher's mitt, and I would end up using that in practice. And so we put a tire out in the backyard, and I would just spend my time throwing right-handed. So I guess kids in Curacao don't have phones because he actually went in the backyard and threw a ball through a hoop. Huh. Which sounds like something that would have happened, I mentioned earlier. That's how they found, Mickey Mantle. The kid could throw a ball through a barnyard wall. They used to be High Plains drifters that just go around and look for corn-fed husky boys that could really crack them. But that would be, anytime there's a kid that can throw with both hands, and especially with the 3-batter minimum, wouldn't that be the greatest thing to have? Yeah. 3-batter minimum, and you can just go righty lefty. I don't care what you do to me. I'm gonna screw up your whole lineup.
As long as he's just as good from both sides.
Well, he obviously throws harder from his dominant hand, but I think his breaking stuff is better with the other hand, which is probably why he went so late.
From the right, he operates with a 94 and a 96 mile an hour fastball, tops out at 98. He backs it up with a mid-80s slider that reaches 91. As a southpaw, he works from a low slot with a sweepier low 80s breaking ball and a low 90s heater that doesn't miss many bats. He's pitching right-handed against lefty hitters more often in 2024. Scouts would like to see him do so full-time. They're thinking that maybe lefty reliever, but works more from the right, obviously, because that's his dominant hand.
Yeah, he's focused.
Okay, so right was his dominant hand. So
Yeah,
I got it wrong. Maybe he was a catcher and his dad was a lefty. Go ahead.
Apparently, he has risen up draft boards. I'm reading the ESPN breakdown of him. He has risen up draft boards because he throws from his left side less frequently to focus on his more powerful right-handed delivery.
Okay. Well, I had it opposite. So he's right-handed and he learned how to throw left-handed. But I would hope.
He was taken 3 picks after the Red Sox.
The Red Sox could have had a cool guy to go to the park to watch. Throws from both sides, but they whiffed on that.
Mm-hmm.
They took a guy with a broken ankle.
Yep.
John says, because he was a consensus top 10 prospect, was taken 12th, and John says he slid because he had a broken ankle.
That's the only thing that was wrong with the kid. There's no other reason for him to drop out of the top 10.
Was he going to demand a lot of money? Because that's another weird thing about the MLB draft is that that the cheap teams won't take certain kids because they slot for too much money.
Yeah, they want definitely over slot, whatever the case may be. But I think there's limitations on that now.
Yeah, because that's how the NFL draft used to be.
Yeah.
And
Stafford was the last of the truly huge
Well,
contracts.
no, but before that, there was if you look at it was the 83 draft where all the quarterbacks were taken, right?
Yep.
Where Elway was taken number 1.
Elway to Marino, yep.
Okay, so Elway was taken number 1. He made $1 million a year, and he had there was no consensus amount of years you took and no consensus amount of money that you would get. Go look at the top first round of that draft and how wildly the years in money per year is different for those guys. There are some guys that were taken 10 slots before other guys that are making 2/3 less than the guys that were taken.
You're talking about the 83
The
draft?
83 draft.
Okay.
If you look at where the guys were taken and the amount of money they got and the amount of years, because there's some guys that got 6 years, some guys that got 5 years, some guys that get 4 years. There's guys making $250,000 a year in the first round, and John Elway's making $1 million a year. I mean, it's crazy the difference between those things, and you just think of how bad the agents were, and that it's all there in print for you to see right after everyone negotiated how badly you got screwed. So the Red Sox go into the All-Star break with their new kid from Texas A&M, with a true cannon in the outfield, and they firmly entrenched in the wild card. 2 games up on the Kansas City Royals, who they won the series against.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not even out of the discussion for the AL East.
They're 4.5 games out. They're 4.5 games behind Baltimore for first place.
Yeah. And Baltimore, just avoided a sweep from the Yankees. So this is a Red Sox team that could conceivably win the division.
It is amazing.
I mean, stranger things have happened than coming back from 4.5 down with how much of the season left?
They're in it. They got 70 games left, something like that.
Yeah. So
they're in it.
You got time.
You in on the home run derby?
No, I can't stand it. Especially after the tragedy when Vlad Guerrero hit the ball that the kid missed and it hit him in the head and hit against stitches.
Soft spot in Fred's heart because he got torched for that.
Got absolutely torched for that. It's still the strangest thing in the world. So I said I let my kid do it, even if it meant that he got hit in the head. Go ahead.
The funny part about the home run derby is there's one guy in it who really takes it seriously. Pete Alonso. He's won the thing
so
twice.
Annoying. All you do is root against Pete Alonso.
The best part is they have the cameras go back into the clubhouse, and everyone else is like talking and joking around. Alonso's like sitting by himself in the corner focusing. He's won it twice. The record is winning this event 3 times. He wants to do it for a 3rd time, which is the only reason he's in it this year.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all.
Well, they're changing it again in terms of the rules and the format. It's not going to be a bracket-style tournament this year. All 8 hitters competing against each other. Top 4 scores advance to the semis, and then it's knockout style. If there's a tie, blah, blah. For the first time, there will be a maximum number of pitches thrown to a competitor in each round. first round and semis will end after either 3 minutes or 40 pitches.
Yeah.
So you can work the clock a little bit to your advantage.
3 minutes or 40 pitches. So
Right.
That way
once
you
you get
just-
to 40
yeah.
pitches, it's over.
It's over.
So if you've got
Oh boy, that's even more boring.
if you've got 37 pitches and you've got 40 seconds left, you can slow down. Hold on.
Don't even need to call
Yeah.
your timeout.
Yeah, give me one right there. Give me one right there.
Well, that's exciting. You can watch them rest.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Good for them to give the minimum amount of pitches so you get less.
You do have some young players. Like
Yeah, which means
Gunnar
nothing.
Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, these are guys that Major League Baseball needs to showcase.
Yeah, and what a better showcase than watching them take batting practice. It's very boring. I don't even like home runs in games that much. I prefer.
The hell you don't. You love calling that the next morning here. You love calling home runs.
Yeah, once they've happened. But in the games, the triples are more exciting than home runs. Doubles are more exciting than home runs. There's a lot of things more exciting than home runs.
Fly ball here by Smith. That's a deep drive by Don.
Oh, Smith, what are you? A blacksmith? Ding dong?
What are you, a silversmith Smithy?
And kiss it goodbye.
Mwah, Morgana the Kissing Bandit, Jugs.
Sox launching right away against KC. Don Smith with number 5.
All right, very good. We will be back. So many people died over the weekend. We talked about how Trump did not, but but other people did. And in fact, we're going to honor one of them at 8 o'clock by testing John's knowledge of said person.
Okay.
You can
Richard
guess-
Simmons.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right, good.
He was a good friend of yours. Now, are we convinced Richard Simmons is really dead?
Oh, that's right. There were reports before that he was when he wasn't.
I listened to a podcast, Hachi Machi. That's another thing. Between S-Town and the Richard Simmons Is He Dead podcast, I hit two real
Stinkers
roads
in
to
a row.
nowhere. I even read the Wikipedia after we talked about it at S-Town, and even the Wikipedia was like, huh? Like, nothing happened. Yeah, really ruined me. I'll never listen to another one again. We'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
we're Toucher and Hardy, 617-779-0985. Jeff, right here in the city of Waltham, I very rarely give out where they're from, but one of my Hofstra kids back there working hard, putting Jeff from Waltham. Jeff, go ahead, sir.
Hey, Rich. Jesus,
hey!
Fred. I'm
hey!
the worst.
How dare you?
Well, so I thought you'd get a kick out of this. I was just talking about this yesterday. Of all the sports, baseball has the longest season, the most games, the most exciting. Guys getting thrown out at home plate, like inside the park home runs, base stealing home. What are your thoughts on, like, hockey's tried to get creative with, like, the All-Star weekend and this, that, and the other skills competitions. Like, I played at Cooperstown Little League All-Star. Like, throw around, like, time how fast the All-Star team can throw around the baseball, like, throw people out at home. Like, do you have any creative ideas? I wanted to give you the floor for some type of skills thing that could get you interested, because I agree, there's a million other awesome things, like showcase some arms, someone getting thrown out from the warning track, that sort of thing. So
yeah,
I thought I'd give you a jumping off point for something more creative than just watching a bunch of people take batting practice.
I will keep you on the phone, and I will tell you this, is that if you had something where it was a guy on second, and you say you have a jug, this would all involve jugs machines, because you couldn't let a guy fungo him because you couldn't do it enough. There's two things that I would do. Is that I'd have guys on, you would have two teams split between fast guys in outfield arms. So, like, for instance, there would be like 6 guys on one team, 6 guys on the other team, 3 base runners, 6 outfielders. While your base runners were on, the other outfielders were out. You'd have a guy in right field, guy in second base. You'd have a jugs machine, high fly ball to right field. It'd be uniform every time, and then the guy from second would have to. The guy from third, rather, you would have a guy in third, and then the guy would tag. You could have a base hit to left, and then a guy on second, and see if you could score from second. Then you could do a defensive skills competition. First of all, I don't know if they'd ever do that, because I don't know if they'd let the base runners run because they might get hurt, and they wouldn't let a guy like unleash from the outfield.
That's the thing,
because he would hurt his arm.
They tried something similar to this, like a relay challenge, and one of the infielders threw out his shoulder doing this.
But that's the thing, is that, like, you screw up your swing in the home run contest. So, like, this, you'd have to be willing to take a chance.
Exactly.
But this you could do. This you could do if you had a jugs machine and you had like a UZR thing, like where the guy would be at shortstop, and you would have the shortstops go out there, and there would be like a series of plays they had to make. Like there would be one to them, then one to their right, one to their left, one that they had to bare hand, like something like that. And then, a range where they would have to throw it to first base. You could come up with something there, too.
And you would probably watch it once, but you're a hockey fan, Fred. I'm a hockey fan. How many times have you watched the NHL skills competition during an NHL All-Star weekend?
Yeah, but I never played hockey, so it's different. But, like, the thing about the fielding is that I don't think I'd get sick of it, because you could make it super where the guys were, like, diving, and they were impossible plays. So you were diving to, like, your right, grabbing the ball, and then popping up and having to get it to first. I think I would watch that at least a few years. I might not watch it for the rest of my life, but it would be good. And seeing guys be able to get dudes from second base, from left field, that would be kind of cool. I would like to see that. So there you go. That's what I would do if I could do it. But nonetheless, while I'm coming up with these great ideas, people are passing away. And we're getting to where the generation of it ahead of us, if you're people of our age, are dying. Such was the case with Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Now, a lot of you might not know who Dr. Ruth was, but she was a very small lady from Europe, Germany, I believe, or Austria, one of them places, the Schwarzenegger country. She was over there. She was very small, but she would talk very frankly about sex. And the great thing about her in the 80s was you were not allowed to talk about sex really on TV or the radio, but you could have Dr. Ruth on, and she could say vagina and penis all day. Clitoris, she could say all the technical terms, and no one could censor her, because the government had to allow you to talk about science. And even though it is a sin and very shameful, genitalia do exist on most everyone. And you have to, and the government for some reason allows you to talk about it. But Dr. Ruth Westheimer had a show. She became a bit of a cultural icon. And this was sent to us by Dan. She had Ozzy Osbourne on the Dr. Ruth Westheimer show. And here's a clip from that.
Could maybe be classified as sexual problems. A whole mountain of problems. I don't know what to do. Can you help me?
It's very clear what you should do. What you need is Friday night videos.
Tonight on Friday Night Videos, believe it or not, your hosts are sex therapist Dr. Ruth Westheimer and Rock's wild man, Ozzy Osbourne.
And then I tell the guy to put a condom over his finger.
She told the guy to put a condom over his finger to practice putting a condom on. Are people still wearing condoms? That is what is it. How is the condom business doing?
With broadcast premieres from Mr. Mister, Simple Mind, Philip Bailey, Julian Lennon, and Falco.
All those artists still with us today.
Really?
They're part of the zeitgeist. Falco and Philip Bailey and Julian Lennon, the forgotten Lennon child, the Lennon child that they neither Yoko or it's not Yoko's kid that John didn't care for so much. John, what are you doing? There's a little bit of sandwich left. Give it to Julian. No, don't hit your wife. Bite the dagwood.
Plus, Madonna, Billy Ocean, and orchestral maneuvers in the dark.
Ooh. Wow.
And now, Ozzy Osbourne and Dr. Ruth.
Dr. Ruth, tell me what is it like being a sex therapist? Do you ever get embarrassed? Do your family ever sort of say, slow down, it's getting too crazy for it,
I tell you something. First of all, at home, I don't talk much about sex. I'm not saying I'm not doing it, but I don't talk about it because I talk about it all day long. So at home, I want to talk about literature and philosophy and other things. Being a sex therapist, a psychosexual therapist, is very exciting because, first of all, I have to visualize what people do in their bedrooms. So that's not bad as a profession. But what is wonderful is if I can help a woman achieve orgasm.
So, you hear Ozzy laughing, but at that time, to say orgasm on the television, you really couldn't do it. So she was the only one who could do it, and because she was a little lady. And she probably wasn't even as old as we thought she was. It was probably like a Golden Girls situation with B. Arthur's mom on the show. It was probably a whole thing. Mom! She wasn't as old as everyone thought.
Yeah, she was. I mean, the show started like in the mid-'80s when she was 50-something.
Yeah.
And she seemed like she was 80.
Yeah, she seemed like an 80-year-old lady. She was like a little pruny. And then she would say that she was having sex, like she just did, and you would go like, ew. And then that was funny.
Fred, to answer your question, condom usage has dropped in the last 10 years.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Significantly, 75% of men reported using them or having used them recently in 2011 to just 42% in 2021.
There's two reasons for that. People are not having sex as much. The young people are not as sexually active. And two is, if you're a guy, what are you going to catch? I mean, let's be honest. Worst thing you get is herpes.
I don't know anymore.
So I don't know what the rubber's for. I mean, you take the testosterone, that just kills it right there. And then if you're a lady, I mean, you got to be responsible. Got to get that IOU. You got to get a little copper in there. Let's go.
IOU?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
You got that ting, that IOU.
That ting, the IOU. You know what I'm saying.
Fred, Dr. Ruth's not the only one who passed away. And I mean, we'll be discussing one of them at great length here in a moment. But Shelley Duvall.
What are you doing down here?
I just wanted to talk to you.
Okay.
All right, so Shelley Duvall, of course, is dead. She people make a big deal because she looked all homeless at the end of her life. So I don't know.
She was in really, really rough shape.
Yeah.
She was suffering from a lot of different illnesses, and she had gained a lot of weight. And losing
people
her
were
hair.
really obsessed with that, which was odd to me because the big thing about Shelley Duvall was how odd-looking she was as a working actress. I mean, can you think of another actress, not actor? Because there's like Hills Have Eyes and like all those people.
Right.
Actress that was a mainstream star that is that bizarre looking as Shelley Duvall. With between the teeth and how thin she was, like everything about her.
Only someone who made it part of their thing to be odd looking. You know, Marty Feldman. Or,
No, women.
Oh, women? No.
Women, another actress. There's dudes, like lots of them. But like women that that made a career. Leading ladies that made a career. She was in Popeye, Olive Oil. She was in The Shining. She was a big star and very bizarre looking. I can't think of another actress. Like when I see her, it's first of all, she's frightening. It's like frightening. Like she was perfect for The Shining. I mean, she looks like everything's weird about that movie, and she looks weird. I mean, that's something to roll around in your brain. But Gabe, this leads us into our next thing. Gabe, quickly, go ahead.
John, I'm a bit upset with you. You haven't mentioned the passing of a lady from your favorite show. I think you know who it is.
I do.
A woman by the name of Shannon Doherty. And I'm just a little upset that you're not more upset. So thank you.
All right, Gabe, we will address the passing of Shannon Doherty with maybe our final John Wallach 9021 segment ever, because we've done it before. Now, this is the grand poobah of them all. Will he honor the memory of Shannon Doherty, or will he, kind of just Bill Walton her? We'll see how this goes on. We'll see if he's going to get death threats. Watch your back. You better do good on this trivia quiz. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
Whoa. Hey! We're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube, which is exciting because you can talk to Hardy. You and him just chatting away.
Yeah, I'm on there. I haven't said anything yet this morning. What do you want me to say?
I don't need you as a... I don't need to be the puppet master for your...
Not just a friendly howdy to the folks.
Well, anyway, unfortunately, a lot of people died over the weekend. They died. Dr. Ruth Westheimer, Richard Simmons, who people... I hope they're very happy that they didn't leave him alone. All he wanted to do was be left alone at the end of his days, and people just continued to poke and bother him and show up at his house and everything else and make podcasts about if he was missing and that don't go anywhere, and it turns out that maybe he just wanted to be home. So he's gone.
No. How you doing, Richard?
Why do you think I aggravate you?
Oh, you know, I don't know.
I'm not annoying at all. Look, I'm happy, I'm perky.
Yeah.
I'm here to see you and I love you.
Yeah. Now listen,
the best Richard Simmons moment ever was also the funniest moment, arguably in Howard Stern history, on the WOR show. And Richard had to know something was going to happen. But when I was young and naive, I believed that he didn't. But Howard had Richard on with two fat people that he was counseling. And during the segment, they had fishing lines, and they were hanging chips and sweets above their heads to see if they would go after it. And Richard would go, Howard! And he was going, what? And he's like, Howard! And so it was fantastic. But those are very sad. But the saddest of all is a woman that was taken to us far too young. Dear Hardy, if you have it.
Absolutely.
A woman by name Brenda Walsh. She is gone.
Shannon Doherty.
Well, when you say Shannon Doherty, you might go Little House on the Prairie on the people. So you can't just say Shannon Doherty. We're saying Brenda Walsh.
Fair enough.
Brenda Walsh from Minnesota moves to Beverly Hills along with her twin brother Brandon. And they live their lives among the luxury along with Steve and the gang. And John, we have proven on the show over John and I have been together for 18 years. We have proven John has a weird recall when it comes to 90210. Here's the deal, is that I watched far more TV than John did, and I've probably seen most 90210s, which is impressive because they're hour-long shows, and it was on for a long time.
A decade.
And so certainly when I went to college, I never had watched 90210 in high school, and because they were in the same grade as me. So when they were in high school, I was in high school. When they went to college, I was in college, blah, blah, blah. So when I was in college my freshman year, I had never seen 90210. I thought it was probably dumb. But all the girls, we had co-ed dorms, and all the girls on my floor or in my dorm would go to the common room to watch 90210 on Wednesday nights, Melrose and 90210. Mm-hmm. And I was in love with this one girl, Lauren, and I would go there to watch the show. And then probably 3 weeks into it, I started liking 90210 and started watching it from there on.
That's exactly what happened to me. I was with someone who loved the show, and then I fell in love with Jenny Garth, and the rest is history.
Yeah, there was no one I found overly attractive on the show. I guess Brenda would be the one I would choose to sleep with if given the chance. But I didn't think Kelly, for supposed to be a bombshell, was even that hot. Obviously, Andrea was garbage. And then Tori Spelling was on just because of her, Donna Martin, just because of her father. But, John, you have this weird recollection of it. Like, I remember 80s sitcoms and stuff, but people are impressed when I know, like, the theme to Mr. Belvedere. Mm-hmm. You know nuance in things from 90210 that is almost inconceivable, your recollection of it. So let's get to the contest, John. I have 8 questions.
I have a question for John before we begin.
Yeah.
Has he rewatched these episodes over the years? These aren't one-time viewings. And you recall these things?
I have. It's been a while. The show went off the air in 2000, I think. And then I think the last episode I've debuted. It used to be in reruns till about 2000.
All right. No one needs the exact year, but it's been a while since John has seen these things. All right, John. The first three questions I know.
Mm-hmm.
The first three I know. There's a lot of audio in here. I'm going to start you off slow.
Okay.
Well, this is 7 minutes and 15 seconds, this clip.
That's not good.
The mic. This says it's 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Or no, 7 seconds. My bad. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Yeah. This is, okay, so what's happening here, but more importantly, who does this? Okay?
Yeah.
Your father knows about saving money.
No, that's not
right. That's a commercial, Fred.
Yeah.
Everything I'm wearing, I've had since boot camp.
And I just saved on my car insurance for driving safe with USAA.
I'll be impressed if you remember that episode.
All right, here we go. Here is the actual clip. Okay. Here is the clip. Where did and when did this happen? No, that's not right either. Yeah, I'm going to need 1 second here. All right, so I'll ask you these questions.
Okay.
This put in.
All right.
All right.
Here we go.
What is Donna Martin allergic to? It's a food.
God. What is Donna Martin allergic to?
I knew it.
I don't know it. Oh, that pisses me off. What is the answer?
You don't even want to hazard a guess.
Pickles. I don't know.
She married David. She's not allergic to pickles.
Hey.
She's allergic to chocolate, John.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
All right, here we are. What's going on here, and more importantly, who did this?
Look, can we just let it drop? I need a break, okay?
What, you need a break from me?
No, I want to get out of these clothes.
Good, because the only reason I'm here is you. And maybe I should go back to L.A. and rehearse with my band, which is what I should have been doing this whole time anyway.
Yeah, maybe you should.
Hey, don't walk away from me.
Stop it!
Stop acting like I'm not even here.
You know what? I can't deal with this. Why are you so mad at me?
Because you make me mad.
You know what? I have to go work on my speech.
No.
Ow, you're hurting me!
You're gonna listen to me.
What happened there and who did it?
That's Ray Pruitt threw Donna Martin down the stairs when she was working on a speech for her convention for her sorority. And I believe it's Palm Springs where they are. But yeah, Ray Pruitt throws Donna down a flight of stairs.
Introduces Donna to the stairs is what it's called. Yes, indeed, that is correct. And it was interesting choice for Ray Pruitt, considering they were trying to give him a spin-off show called The Heights.
Yes.
And launch a recording career for him. So what a better way to introduce him to the world than have him abuse his girlfriend on the show. His fictional character. Not a good choice, but you could see the acting on 90210. Why are you so mad at me? Because you make me mad.
Yeah. That was good.
I wonder who Ray Pruitt in real life slept with to get on 90210. Why they chose him. All right. John, I knew this.
Okay.
And if you don't get this, then I move to only audio. But if you don't know this, there's no hope for you. Which sport did Brandon place bets?
Basketball.
Bookmaker.
Basketball.
There you go. All right, Here we go.
Bet on the Lakers against the spread didn't work out too well. Actually, there was a bookie named Duke that used to hang out at the Peach Pit after dark, and he owed some serious money to Duke, and then Nat had to come in and save him at the end of the episode.
Speaking of the Peach Pit, John.
Yes.
This was a hit for David. This little ditty. What's the name of it? Oh, John. And oh, Hardy, if you don't know, if never heard this, you're in for a treat.
Lay it on me.
This is not a joke. Peach Pit After Dark, the club. David's behind the keys. I'll give you a hint. They're telling Donna's dating the black-haired kid. And he's saying, like, David wrote this for you. And she's like, no, it doesn't matter. I'm not in love with him anymore. So this is like in kind of college-y later years.
Oh, so he wasn't with Valerie at this point.
No, he might have been with Valerie.
He was with Valerie because she was running the Peach Pit at this point, I think.
All I see is
I don't know the name of this song.
I mean, this.
How can I forget?
I mean, this is David's band. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's baby making music.
That was a man who was married to Megan Fox for a very long time.
Getting into you, girl. That's my answer.
Getting into you, girl. Yeah.
Keep it together.
Keep it together. Oh. Okay.
Sean?
Yeah.
Where was this song performed?
I was respected, not neglected, so the money was collected. Love my neighbor because my neighbor loved me. Jiggity jack, 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 the miggity mac. Switch it up, just switch it up.
Switch it up.
Switch it up, we can switch it up. Yeah, I switch it up, let us switch it up. I like that, switch it up, yo. I switch it up, switch it up. Yeah, I switch it up, let us switch it up.
Another David Silver.
This is it. Before he got into the keyboards and writing love stories to Donna Martin, this was Switch It Up at the Peach Pit After Dark. But Valerie,
No,
the problem,
you're wrong. You got
wasn't
it wrong.
the Peach Pit After Dark.
It's season 1.
No, it wasn't. Then that's the case. Then that was at the Beverly Hills Beach Club.
John.
What
Beverly Hills Beach Club wasn't in season 1. They didn't belong to the Beach Club yet. That's when they put it on in the summer, after it was a hit. This is when they unified the two schools. There was a shooting at the black school.
Shaw. It was Shaw High School, yeah.
Shaw High School, yeah. So you know the name of it.
Yes, I do.
All right, I'll give you half a point.
Okay, very good.
Wow,
I'm struggling.
Half a point. It was his
This is
third
awful.
answer.
But he knew the name of the high school was Shaw, which was the
Okay.
question.
All right.
But, I mean, he did get a lot of time, like the timing of it.
I could tell you that Brandon Walsh wrote a letter in the school newspaper inviting everyone over.
Yeah,
And that
it was
scared all
about
the
time
Beverly
that
Hills
the
people.
white kids saved
Yeah.
the black kids. It was really what the
That's right.
message of the show
That's
was.
how we got introduced. I believe it was Jordan Bronner, who was the president of the Shaw High School class.
Yes, and Brandon had to go in there and go like, "Look, black people, settle down.
Let
we
me
got
show you
our
how
own
things
rapper.
work." That's right.
Let him rap, and let's keep
Yeah.
it together. Keep us together." John, again, when was the last time that you felt that you could? All right. I have a feeling you might not know this because you've been so poor up to this point. All right. This is not, I could not find the clip from the show, but this is Judy Dame Dench.
Yes.
Reading a poem, but this very poem was read during a seminal moment on 90210, later years.
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach, when feeling out of sight for the ends of being and ideal grace.
If you're a car detailer, I just got you some business because there's going to be a lot of wet seats.
Sweet bitch.
Where was that poem read?
I have no idea when that poem was read, Fred. No clue.
Okay, later years, it's about love, and
Yeah.
it was read aloud somewhere.
Was it read by Stephen to his wife, Janet Sosna,
It was
later
just
on?
he thrown out. No,
I don't know.
It was read by Kelly at David and Donna's wedding.
Okay. That's the last episode of the show. Is that right? I don't think I've ever seen that all the way through. The last
What are we even
episode?
doing?
It was too hard for you to get through without crying. 2 more.
All right.
In one of the worst episodes in television history, you're going to know this.
Okay.
So I can set it up this way. It's one of the worst. This explains 90210 sucking. Like, and why it's so strange. John and I both watched them all. It's censored in here.
Except for the last episode.
What is Brenda calling herself here?
I don't get it. What is it, Halloween?
Hey, don't you worry, Props. You get no trick-or-treats with this little lady. I'm strictly a class act. A 100% U.S. certified hostess with the mostest.
And she calls herself Laverne.
Wow. Well done, Wallach.
No, what happened was Brandon had to take the night off, and Nat was a weight person short, so Brenda was forced to go in and do it against her will, and she created this character.
Yeah, so the episode is that she has to work at the Peach Pit.
Yeah.
Why make a TV show?
So
Why
she goes,
have that be a thing?
She's chomping gum, and she's a 50s style waitress called Laverne.
Yeah.
And then David.
What's the plot?
David later in the show bangs Laverne while going. All right, and finally, you can redeem yourself. Who's Brenda talking to here?
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Comment allez-vous?
Je vais très bien, merci. Et vous?
Très bien. Excusez-moi. Why don't they have a simple word like should in here?
You do not need the book.
You speak English.
Well, there's a full picture involved here, Fred. You know, Brenda takes a year abroad in France, and she feels guilty because she has Dylan at home, but then she runs into this handsome guy whose name is Rick, played by the actor Dean Cain.
Absolutely, and she acts like she's French for no reason because Rick would have banged her anyway, and she's a girl.
And then that turns into a whole thing when Rick shows up out in Beverly Hills in the next season.
I like how, but in fairness, Dylan did bang Kelly during that time too.
That's right.
They were both just young kids in love. I just like the idea that Brenda felt like she had to pretend to be French, or else the guy wouldn't have had sex with her.
Yes, that's right.
Like Brenda, this guy, I'm a attractive female, and this guy's come up to me. I better pretend I'm French, or he won't like me.
Yeah, she wasn't going to put on the Laverne act for him if she actually wanted something to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you...
I don't get it. What is it, Halloween?
Hey, don't you worry, Props. You get no trick-or-treats with this little lady. I'm strictly a class act.
Yeah, they were asked to do a lot of stuff that you got to go why are you asking me to do this? Well, all right, John. How many did he get right?
3.5.
All right, you got
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
Something like that.
All right, well, that's it. I don't know how many more 2.0s I got in me. It's about as much effort as I can put into something.
The
nowadays.
Dame Judi Dench thing was a curveball. I gotta give it to you.
I just thought we needed to hear the poem.
I understand.
With all this death around us.
Sure.
I mean, especially, but ladies, again, I apologize for not warning you to sit on a towel or something that could absorb the moisture flowing from your body after you heard. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment. Chris Forsberg was in Vegas. He was watching the Summer League. We'll talk to him.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
All right. We are Toucher and Hardy. The NBA Summer League is going on right now, where all the draft picks have congregated to play in Las Vegas, Nevada, including the kid from Creighton that the Celtics took, and Bronny James. Chris Forsberg, our good friend, was out there. He covers the Celtics for NBC Sports Boston. He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Hi, Chris.
Good morning, friends. I had to leave. It was much too hot to stay for these rookies.
No, where is it at UNLV? Where is the whole thing?
Yeah, so they have like the two little arenas, one little tiny practice arena and a gigantic Thomas and Mack arena, and they do that. And then amidst all that, then you have Team USA was practicing next door at what they call the Mendenhall Center. So a little bit of the center of the universe, NBA universe was out there. It's just weird because it's so hot. No one wants to be outside, and I don't know. Maybe you don't want to be outside in Vegas anyway. But it was to a degree I've never experienced out there, where you had to get up early and move, or otherwise you were not going outside.
Yeah, I was out there this time last year, and my son and I did the same thing. It's like, you want to go to the pool? Okay, we're going down at 9, and we're staying for an hour, and after that, we are going to either be in the car in the air conditioning or someplace where you're out of the sun, because you can't be out in it.
Well, my ex-wife saw Pauly D DJ there last week, or the 4th of July week, and it looked very crowded. I saw a video of it. There was plenty of people out there at the pool.
Well, I was going to say, if it's at the pool, maybe. But, like, for me, I wanted to golf, and there was just no chance. Like, when I'm turning down golf, something's wrong with the temperature.
All right. Well,
I didn't know you played golf, Chris.
You just made a new friend, Christopher.
Oh, how about that?
Maybe we'll get out and play sometime.
Oh,
What do you-
boy.
Let me know.
You're legit going to get a text, so just
I can't wait.
Yeah,
There you go.
you're way out west, though. We got to find like a spot in between.
Oh,
We'll
perfect.
figure it out.
We'll travel for
Hardy.
golf.
Yeah, throw Hardy
nice.
in the briar patch. All right. So, first of all, if you were out there while the U.S. men's team was playing, what is this legend of Cooper Flagg now? The kid going to Duke, the kid from Maine.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, right? Like I'd heard all the hype, but I'd never really seen him play. And for a 17-year-old to get thrown in with the best players in the world. So the end of the first day I was there, I think Monday so a week ago, they scrimmaged, select team versus Team USA, and Team USA pulled what you would call their starters, including Tatum, and put their reserve group in, but it's still like Bam and like all these really good players, and one of which was Drew Holiday, and Cooper Flagg was just awesome. Like he every time he touched the ball, something good happened, and had one sequence where I think he made a three, made a defensive play, got back and had an and one, and almost the select team almost came back and won that game, and largely because of what Cooper Flagg did. So, look, the hype is real about him. I kind of figured he was going to be the number one pick in next year's draft, and now it feels even more like, now that people have gotten a glimpse of that, if you were to see that he's already ready to compete. And look, every young player still has to grow and physically get ready for the NBA. But for him to go out there and do that, and even in a short camp, is really, really impressive. And I suspect there will be a lot of teams across the league that when they're 6-20 to start the season, will say, we'll downshift a little bit and give ourselves a little bit of a better chance at someone like Cooper Flagg.
Okay, so so you're saying that this is like going to be like one of these first round picks, not the same size as the San Antonio one, but a kid that people are really, really going to want, far and away number one.
Yeah, and it's funny because, again, I don't know a lot about these draft classes, and someone said there's another kid who, could be in the mix for the number one pick or whatever. But when you see someone who's 17 and is going to have a chance to go to do the Duke thing 1 year, show what you can do, and then hit the draft, it just feels like you always hesitate to call it generational, like what Wemby could be, and yet, it's clear that if this year everyone was kind of down on the draft and uncertain of who would even be the number one pick and whether those guys would contribute immediately, sure feels like with this kid that the skills are all there, that it's just such a elite level of offensive talent that I do think you feel pretty good if he ends up being the number one pick.
It's amazing he's 17. All right, so before we get to any Celtic stuff, Bronny James, I don't know when you left Vegas, but he was terrible this weekend, I guess. He was 0 for 8 from 3. did you see him or did you hear about him? What are people saying about Bronny James? It is fascinating.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel bad. I have a lot of friends that are Laker reporters, and they're either out there because of the hype around Bronny, or there's guys have individual assignments to just go cover him and all this the spectacle that it is. I kind of get it, right? Like,
I get
it. Storyline.
It's fascinating. Yeah, like now that he's been drafted to cover it, I completely get it. Him being in the NBA is fascinating because, but I guess I'll just say it before you, because you're the expert. But what I've heard is, like, the G League doesn't start until a few weeks after the NBA starts. So the Lakers are probably better off just having Bronny go play at the beginning of the season.
At the end of a blowout loss and put LeBron back in.
Well, yeah, or whatever they do. Just let him play early in the season, like get it over with, put it on TV, and then he'll never play again. That's what the analysis I've heard.
The one thing I would leave open is that, coming out of high school, he was very talented. He obviously had the heart scare. Like, I give him some leeway in terms of, I don't think we saw what he could ultimately be at USC. And then you add to it all this hype and everything that goes into it. I know there's probably people out there that are just like, oh, he's not an NBA player. He's only there because of his dad. And like, look, you can feel that way too. I actually thought a team would roll the dice sooner than the Lakers, but certainly when the agent puts pressure to make sure that he's there for that team, like, it feels like he got where he was going to end up no matter what. I just hope he gets the chance to show what he can do and develop. And whether that is throwing him into games at the start and letting him see what NBA speed is like, I just think another year of college probably would have benefited him to at least get his health back to where it was, maybe show what he could do a little bit more.
He was not going to be, he wouldn't have been a McDonald's All-American from everyone I've talked to or read about. I shouldn't say that he wouldn't have even been a McDonald's All-American. Like, he's a good athlete. He's not a tremendously tall kid. Like, he's 6'1". He's listed as taller, but he's 6'1". That he can't shoot, which he was evident this weekend. Like, that he's a 6'1" guard who can't shoot is basically what the thing is. And I don't know why a team would draft him, especially after he wasn't good in college. Go ahead.
And I don't want to be the Bronny defender. I'm more curious how it plays out too. I think it's an interesting story for the league, and like we can debate whether he should even have the opportunity. I do think he showed some things in high school that make me intrigued by what he could be. I don't think he probably showed enough through college to, just like you said, to justify maybe being a late second round pick. I feel bad for kids who, did show that they should be there that aren't getting guaranteed money as a second round pick. There's certainly some things here that feel a little bit, I would say, uncomfortable. But I do think when you come from that family, you have a chance to be something. Like, it's in your genes, and like, you're going to have every opportunity, every sports science thing. Like, LeBron knows how to be an NBA player. Like, you see this with second generation players of every degree. And so I'll be very interested to watch how it plays out. But certainly, there's a part of me that's a little bit skeptical based on, just like all the things you said. But I do want to just see how it plays out. And I hope the spectacle doesn't just like kind of crush the kid, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of pressure. There's going to be a lot of just a lot of spotlight on him as he struggles, even in that first game. I wonder if he'll get better when he's in the G League and out of the spotlight for a little bit and is allowed to make the progress that he might have made out of the spotlight if he had stayed in college.
Well, it's fascinating. Here's why it's fascinating is because it's like, what would you do as a father? So, like, say Bronny was 6'7". Like, I don't doubt with the genetics and the knowledge that LeBron has and the outlets that he would have for him to develop, that you could take a 6'7" kid with those genes and that kind of, training and make him an NBA player. The thing about 6'1" is that I don't know if that's the case. And the idea that how far do you take it as a father, right? Like, when is it not good for the kid anymore? And it's not my business to tell LeBron James what to do. But, like, I could see kids in high school wants to play college basketball, hype him up, put some of his videos on, like, social media, get colleges interested. College coach goes, like, I'll take your son and he can go to my college for free. Maybe part of the reason, without saying so, is that he's your kid and it will add publicity to my program. I think that's where I would stop and go, like, all right, let's see where it goes from here. He's 18. He's in college. But what LeBron James does is, depending on how you look at it, you could look at it as being selfish in that, like what you just said, Chris, there's this big, microscope on Bronny James. If indeed they start the season because the Lakers can justify it because the G League hasn't started, and they put Bronny on the roster, and Bronny goes out and gets on the court with LeBron James, and they're doing it just for LeBron, and it kind of bastardizes the kid's future. That and there's all that spotlight on him and all this stuff. Like, just saying, would you do that as a dad? That's kind of what's interesting to me. Would you do that as a father? Like, would you go? I'm gonna, even though he hasn't earned it, I'm gonna put him on the court with me because I want to be on the court with him.
The kid may or may not be talented, but you've reduced him to a sideshow.
Exactly.
Regardless of what the circumstances are, regardless of what else he does in his life, he's a sideshow.
Yeah.
No, I can't argue with any of that, and again, I think that's why it was a little bit frustrating. I would have liked the kid to have a chance to just get picked by a team instead of sort of being steered
right.
to where he wanted. Like, you're taking away, instead of a team saying we actually believe in you and think we can mold you into something, and it if you want to say like that, bastardized process 100%. And again, we all love storylines, and so it'll be something fascinating to follow. But yeah, I think it's hard. I can see both sides of it from a father's perspective. You want to be selfish. You probably want to play with your kid. You've probably been thinking about that, especially at the end of your career. But certainly, I do start thinking about the other players on the team and how they feel if he's getting minutes over them and hasn't proven he's ready for that situation.
Or just being Bronny, right? Like you're a kid, so you're just, and your dad's LeBron James, so you're probably a little still in awe of him. I mean, everyone, for better or for worse, idolizes their father a little bit, at least something about them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you're just following along with what he says, but so it's not even about the other guys on the team. It's just about him. Like, here you go, kid, look, we did it. First time ever in the NBA. It's on national television. All right, now go down to the G League and, muddle through that thing.
Yeah.
And see if you can ever come back here. Like, you did it. It's over. Now you're 19 and the highlight of your professional career is taking place.
Can you imagine what this kid is going to think about if he never turns into anything? If he winds up being a 5-point-a-game G League
Or
scorer?
how about if LeBron James, like when he's not playing and he doesn't exert the kind of influence that he did before, and then there's no way, and then he realizes, wow, I have no business being here. Like, there's a lot of variables, because if you go to college, at least you're in college. And at the end of it, you're with other kids.
Yeah,
and at the end of it, there is ostensibly another reason for being there other than basketball. That's all. All right. Well, listen, we didn't even get time to get to the Celtics. You were so interesting, Chris.
I mean, look, sometimes that conversation takes off. And it is funny. I just to kind of put a cap on it. It's funny because a lot of people, coming back from Vegas, that was one of the most popular questions is what is that situation? Because I think even to a non-basketball fan, it's an intriguing situation. So I get the conversation. Apologies to Baylor Shireman and all the Celtics for, they get diminished by all this because we're talking about something else, but it happens.
All right. Well, Chris, thank you so much, and congratulations on getting back from Vegas without a venereal disease, I would suppose.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, thank you so much.
What a win.
That's a big win for Chris. All right, thanks, Chris. We appreciate it.
Lady on.
All right. So there you go. We'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headline. Sports Hub.
Played yet for Team USA, probably won't play for at least another week.
I still don't see the problem with giving Jaylen Brown the slot on the team if Kevin Durant is unable to go. I understand that other team owners would be like, you can't have more than one Celtic on you. Now you're going to have two. Now you got three Celtic. This isn't the All-Star game. This isn't some fair and equitable measure by which all teams get represented on Team USA. It's a travesty already that he wasn't asked to participate. And the fact that you would leave him off now a third time?
I don't even think it's that anymore. I think him outing Nike after being passed over this time, that will guarantee he is not added this time.
And I understand there's been some more that's been coming out about this, but
it'll be Tyrese Maxey would be the pick, I would bet, or Brunson. I don't think it'll be Jaylen Brown. Kevin Durant can't
would you
play
have
anymore.
either one of those guys to replace the type of player that Kevin Durant is?
No.
Okay,
no,
so
it should be. Look, we agree. It should be Jaylen Brown, but I don't think it will be anymore, regardless of the circumstances.
Right. But more to the point, the calf injury brought to mind a horrific calf injury I suffered yesterday. Now, this happens, I'm sure, to people of all ages, but it seems to be one of these older person type of injuries that I think happens. And no, I didn't hurt it getting out of bed. The bed injuries and the sleep injuries.
This was far better.
I had been asked to play golf yesterday morning. And I'm like, of course, I'll play, early Sunday morning.
It was pretty hot outside.
As early as I can get there.
Pretty hot outside yesterday.
So we played pretty early. And get there, and there's some cart path restrictions because of the rain the day before. And I'm like, you know what? Everybody want to walk, all four of us will walk. We're going to walk 18. There's only one of the push carts left. You know what? So 3 of us carry. We decided we're just going to carry and walk 18 yesterday. When I say I got hot and tired, by the 14th hole, I'm thinking, I really don't know that this is even a safe idea anymore. I lost the ability to speak. My mouth was so dry. My throat was so dry. And I'm drinking, water after water, refilling every time I can. It's just sweating on me. But we finish. Won both the matches. No big whoop. Including the rematch.
Okay. Thanks for adding that.
Well, I mean, it's important to note. When you beat a guy 3-2 who had knocked you out of a match play competition earlier in the season, that means something.
And now we're playing for. Might not have had anything to do with where the story is.
Playing
headed,
for a few bucks.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other matches closed out like on 15. I mean, that one.
I see.
Bit of an embarrassment. I think it went dormy on 14. I mean, we really. Okay.
See, the problem is the Open Championship starts Thursday, so this is only the beginning of the golf talk.
I'm going to be very little.
You're going to break down Royal Troon for us?
No, I'm going to be watching it. It's going to be on when we're on Thursday and Friday. You guys were worried I was going to be like that when the PGA Championship was starting earlier. Of course, we got derailed by Scotty Scheffler and his drama.
No danger of that this week.
The fact that the golf will be on, live golf, live round 1 and 2, like right in the thick of it, because it starts so early.
Teeing off at like 1:30 Eastern time in the morning.
Yeah, it's great. It's maybe my favorite major for that reason. But we get done playing on Sunday, and my wife and son are at the pool. I'm like, why don't you come join us at the pool? I'm like, great idea. So I change out of my clothes, go down to the pool, and jump right in. I start messing around. There's a little basketball thing there. I'm throwing a ball back and forth with my son. I try to get cute and try and, block a shot, and I move a little too quickly, and I thought I had ruptured my Achilles. My right calf felt like it rolled up, and it was a pain that I could most easily equate to a muscle cramp, like a Charlie horse you get in the middle of the night, except this one was immediate and sudden. I'm like, oh, there's something bad wrong. And I'm already embarrassed because I'm going to have to be lifted out of the pool and placed on a stretcher, probably there on the pool deck, and taken away in an ambulance.
Was there a scream? Did you scream?
No. God, no, John.
I'm asking.
Did I scream?
Hey, you were talking about intense pain. I thought, something like that.
But this was, yes, Dan. What is your question?
I don't have a question. Stop looking at me.
You moved your microphone into position as though you had something important.
Stop looking at
Don't move anything in my line of sight when I'm telling the injury story.
Nobody look at Dan
Exactly.
for the rest of the show.
For the whole rest of this trip.
So I'm like, this is bad.
I am following along so intently here. I'm locked in.
I reached down to my right calf. With my left hand, I'm mimicking for John right now to feel how bad this is. And, oh, boy, it's bad. I can feel it rolled up toward the back of my knee, this huge knot back there where obviously the Achilles is ruptured and rolled up like a window blind like Gabe Kapler. You know, the thing just popped and went.
Like Aaron Rodgers.
Like Aaron Rodgers, like anybody who's suffered one of these horrible ruptured and rolled up Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
I give it about 5 seconds, and I realize, wait a second, maybe this is not the horrific physical injury I thought. Perhaps it is just a muscle cramp.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to wait probably another 30 seconds after that before I knew for sure. But have you ever had a cramp so bad where you reach down and you can feel the muscle completely pushed up to within, I'd say, half of the normal space it takes up on its body? And I couldn't see it because it was underwater. It had to have looked like a softball just planted at the back of my knee.
Did that while I was running once, but not like just making a sudden move in a pool.
I'll get menstrual cramps that really... I wish, to have a birth canal.
You missed the lead up to the story.
I heard it.
Two matches being won.
I heard.
But here's how I fixed it.
I was having trouble focusing on the doctor's office. I was like,
what's he going to say next?
I'm like, he's weaving a tale that needs to be told.
Right.
Thank you, Fred, because I was locked in, and then he called me out for it.
I went home and I ate a banana. Potassium.
That worked for you?
That's what you need.
Yeah.
I was. You know what I was most afraid of after I got over the initial fear of having to be lifted out of the pool and then stretchered off the pool deck? I was most afraid of waking up in the middle of the night with that leg cramp because I said, if this wakes me up in the middle of the night, I might die of a heart attack because it hurt that bad. Awake in the pool, not wanting to show your true emotion, you calm yourself. At night, I may have just died. Just take me. Take me from this earth. I can't take the pain.
Shelley Duvall, Brenda Walsh,
Richard
Simmons, Dr. Ruth Westheimer, and Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, that would be almost too much for the nation to take.
The Pentaveret. Oh.
Someone's showing off their Scrabble skills.
You.
Pentaveret.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've ever even heard that before.
Collection of 5.
All right. Well, I got that part.
Once
you said it, I understood. All right. Very good. We'll be back in just a moment. least there's quality music playing. 98.5 The Sports Hub. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube at just search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, 617-779-0985. Just give me one more second on the phone here.
Yeah,
This will not happen again. Just, hey, listen, let me be on the phone.
Yeah. So Fred's on the phone, and now we've got a time for Wallach and I to visit about a subject matter that is very near and dear to my heart, because you know what I love more than anything, John?
Golf.
No. It is
Michigan State football.
What I like to call informed viciousness. And this is when I find something that I dislike, and what I'll do is I'll investigate it to a greater degree than something I even do like, to try and get the root of why it is that I dislike it so much. And in addition to golf, yes, music, sports, but movies to me are something that I spend a lot of time watching. And movies that are supposed to be good but just in fact aren't led me to think about this.
Why do so many people like the movie when in reality it sucks?
Why do so many people like the movie blank when in reality it sucks?
Now, this is very difficult for me because I generally agree with the consensus. I'm a big fan of everything everyone loves.
Well,
you already have a strike against you if you become like, for instance, the show with the non-funny guy from SNL that was on Apple Plus, the soccer one.
Oh, Ted Lasso.
Yeah, like I'll never ever watch Ted Lasso. Why? Because it stars a man who is not humorous.
But you have to give it at least a shot because
not based on everyone liking it. Like if it's like people that I respect in only them, then I'll be like, yeah, but like when it's Roach's favorite show, no. I will not watch it. Like Dan Roach, I love Dan Roach. I love him. I think he's a great human being. I love Dan more than anything.
Yeah.
But his ideas of what's funny and not funny, I do not. That's a good barometer if I'm not going to like it. And even
not just a comedy, Fred. Personal relationships are formed. It's a very good story.
Yeah. I don't need it. And the idea that it's like a feel-good comedy that was perfect for COVID is just...
Okay.
And I'll never like it. And comedy is like subjective like that now it's not even fair to Ted Lasso, because if I watched it, I'm going to be watching it through a gaze of hate.
I just didn't understand the need for like multiple seasons or even multiple episodes. Once you get like 4 or 5 episodes of Ted Lasso, you've got it. It doesn't change. There's not a lot to it.
There are lows and highs with the soccer team.
I couldn't.
Jamie Tart, redemption story.
I tried.
Trouble with his dad.
I tried to see if there was something there. It wasn't for me either. But to me, that's actually a pretty good one. That's Ted Lasso, but that's a TV show. It's not.
I've never even seen it.
Not a movie, Fred. So we're going to start with movies that everyone seems to like, and in many cases have won awards. But in reality, it just sucks. And maybe my favorite movie on this subject is a certain movie not only set in Boston, but also won the Academy Award for a long-denied director and writer. That movie is...
I have to say your vulnerability is really freaking me out right now.
The Departed. And aside from the usage of the Dropkick Murphys song, which I thought was excellent, not once, but twice in the film, that movie is such a mess when it comes to the plot and the script and lines like...
I have to say your vulnerability is really freaking me out right now.
People don't talk like that. Even therapists, they don't talk like that. Not when they're trying to get laid, they don't.
Have you been to a therapist?
No, not any regular. No.
So how would you know? I mean, that's unfair to the director.
Okay, wait. in a casual setting, when this woman is trying to bed this young man, would she, and vice versa, would she say to him...
I have to say your vulnerability is really freaking me out right now.
Is it real? Yeah, I think it is. Oh, stop it. Not to mention, Jack Nicholson's
Departed is
accent.
the Whitey Bulger one, right?
Well, it's
Sort of the Whitey Bulger one, because the Black Mass is the real Whitey Bulger.
Right,
Yes.
but they took a Japanese movie, from my understanding, I think it's called Internal Affairs, and then they turned it into The Departed, but then they make it this like Whitey Bulger allegory. And if you think about certain points in the plot for like 10 seconds, you're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Why is he doing that? No. People love it, though. Oh, do they love that movie?
Is that considered something that everyone loves, The Departed?
I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Yeah, it kind of just exists. I saw it.
It was fine, but it wasn't anything that I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing with me.
Because it's locally. So we got,
that was in the sea of Boston movies. I mean, that was a real annoying time where every movie was set in Boston.
See, I loved The Town. I thought The Town was fantastic.
No, The Town was a
Better
good
than
movie,
that.
but that doesn't change the fact that every movie was set in Boston, and Boston was an extra, and like it was a part of every movie. It was incredibly annoying, especially living here. And like the pride it gave people was very, very annoying to me.
And The Departed won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Film Editing, Best Adapted Screenplay. And Mark Wahlberg was even nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Mark Wahlberg was nominated for an Oscar.
Best Supporting Actor. And again, for the lines like, who are you? I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. Oh, celebrated in meme form ever since.
Well, Mark Wahlberg
Shut up.
was shunned by the Academy for his work in the movie where they did the marathon bombing, and he went through and showed the FBI where the restaurants on Beacon Street were.
Because he was the only one that could have done that. Nobody in the area knew.
They're like, we need a local cop.
We got to bring a guy in.
And he goes, oh, that's Whiskey's. And they're like, how did you know that? It's all blown up now. There's no sign.
It's incredible.
The sign's gone. How did you know? It's really, truly. And like Kevin Bacon sitting there too. Like none of them went, this is really stupid. If you don't know, it's some movie about the marathon bombing. I can't even remember. But Mark, it's not
Patriot
like real.
Day?
It's not real.
Patriots Day, yeah. Left
Like,
the boom. I remember
it's fictional, like, right? Like it's not what really happened. And Kevin Bacon's like the FBI, and they're really like they're perplexed. They don't know what to do.
They're stroking their collective beards. Who do we call?
Right. They've tried to recreate the Beacon Street in Back Bay of Boston. Not something that's not been, I would imagine there's a Google Maps. But they've recreated it like in this warehouse, and they're like stymied. They don't know where different locales are, so they bring in the local Boston cop, Mark Wahlberg, and he goes around and he just starts pointing at things, telling them what it is, like Atlantic Fish and the Abe and Louie's, and they're like, whoa!
So that's where those are.
And I'm just thinking, when you were making this scene, like no one went, hey, this is pretty dumb. Like we could always get a map. Or, just go down there and take a look around.
The internet does exist.
It wasn't the atomic bomb, right? Like it didn't like waylay the city into rumble. It wasn't Dresden. Like it was not it was a terrible, terrible incident, but it didn't blow up the city. So anyway.
All right. So Fred, a movie that everyone seems to like, that you say sucks.
All right, so there's two times in my life that people were calling people names that I thought were really their names that turned out to be nicknames. One was very cruel. There was a very, very ugly girl in our middle school, and strange and ugly, like real ugly. And everyone called her Greedo. And I thought her last name was Greedo, but then like 10 years later, I realized that Greedo was the Creature Cantino monster from the Star Wars. Mm-hmm. So I would just call her Greedo, and everyone just called her Greedo, and I honestly didn't know that was a mean nickname. I'm sure I wasn't overly nice to her, but I certainly didn't know I was referring to her as a monster, and I would call into question, many people did, and the guy who made up that nickname had to be some science fiction nerd, who I hope is very satisfied with himself now. But the other person was in my fraternity. They called this kid Floyd, and I thought his name was really Floyd. And it turned out they called him Floyd because of some dumb Dazed and Confused reference. Now, Dazed and Confused is a movie that people, and I like the director and everything, but is a movie that people refer to as a comedy. It's just people hanging around.
You know Wooderson? How's it going, man? Hey.
Just stop it now. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I get it. He's Southern and Texan and talks the stupid thing about being a pedophile. I get it. I'm a pedophile.
You know Wooderson? How's it going, man? Hey. Pretty good. How's it going with you? You got a joint? No, not on me, man.
And that just reminded me that it'd be really cool if you did. Now, how do I know that line? Pete Yorn, backstage at a concert. Pete Yorn goes, "Do you have a cigarette?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "You'd be a lot cooler if you did. You'd be a lot cooler if you did." And I'm like, "All right, a-hole." And then years later, I finally sit down to watch this boring movie, and I realize everyone's just referencing it. And I think I called him an a-hole. And I believe I did. And because I felt bad when I saw the movie, and I went, "Oh, he was joking." But then you're just assuming I saw this movie. And now what made this movie popular? Now, here's what it is. And why was this kid called Floyd? Because they smoke pot. And it was this curse, and you don't have it now that pot is legalized, but in the 90s, people thought they were quite the cat's pajamas and really anti-authority by smoking something that's less bad for you than alcohol. The idea, 311 was a band that we used to watch a home video of that they made because it was so dumb. It was like comedy. Everyone would get together and watch this video because they would smoke from this bong and be like, "Woo!" And be like, "Wow, you're high. Congratulations." It's not a big deal. So people were so pleased with themselves that they smoked weed that anything that referenced weed. Sublime's a terrible, terrible, terrible band. And they became famous. There's a group called the Cottonmouth Kings that if I played it for you would say, this is some creation of Portlandia. And they still tour based entirely on weed. Snoop Dogg still. Congratulations.
By the way, that's a cover. Yeah, anyone who says they love Sublime, that's not even their song.
Well,
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Date Rape.
Oh, God. It's unlistenable.
Sublime are terrible.
Unlistenable.
And they exist. If that guy wouldn't have died right before that album came out, their singer, they never would have been famous.
Wallach, you have a movie?
I have one, and I saw it after it ran through the theater and after the Academy Awards. It was La La Land, and boy, did I lasted a half an hour. Why couldn't I watch La La Land? Why couldn't I have watched it?
It's a lavish musical.
Yeah.
Well, did you think it was going to be good?
I had no idea what to expect, but everyone insisted on it, so I sat down and watched the first half hour.
I don't know many straight men that were like, La La Land's the way to go.
But to John's
It wasn't like I went and saw it in the theater. It was on after all
I
of
know,
it
but your expectation of it being good
everyone
is a little
insisted
off the
on
mark.
it. It won 6 Academy Awards. I'm
but that doesn't
try.
mean. But it's not for men.
It means a little something. I mean, in terms of the accolades, and yes,
it was horrible. I lasted a half an hour.
There's plenty of movies.
Best director, best actress, best cinematography, best original score, original song.
Yeah.
Oh, best original score. You gotta go see it.
So did not last very long. Everyone insisted on it. I couldn't stand it. I hated it.
It just fits your personality because it just shows that how off base you are with what people like.
Okay.
Everyone was insisting on La La Land. Well, no, it's dancing and singing. I don't think it's for you.
Well,
it's not for
quickly
you.
Found out it wasn't. So
no, it's for gay men and women. It's not for you.
I have a movie that's for us that everybody loves,
John,
and I'm here to.
It's not like you said Caddyshack. You go La La Land.
I know.
What was the Jets? What was the movie with the Jets, the two gangs? When you're a jet for life.
Yeah.
West Side Story.
West Side Story.
Like everyone loves West Side Story. Everyone loves Cats. I couldn't get into it.
Buster for Jones.
I went to go see the play Cats, and I didn't like it.
I get dragged to that too.
No,
I'm sure you did.
A movie we are all supposed to like.
Okay.
Based on Fred. your very, very pedestrian choice as your favorite movie of all time.
Oh, yeah.
You should love this movie.
They treated him like a god. And I would sit on my stoop and watch him all day and all night.
Interesting. I thought I did like this movie. It's a Bronx Tale, and it's funny because I thought I liked it. And last year, I saw it referenced, and I went, "Oh, I'm gonna watch it with my son, and we'll watch it." And I went, "Oh my God, this is boring."
Yeah, why don't you? Or here's an idea: if you're gonna have a film, get more than 2 people in it who can act, because there are precisely 2 actors in that movie: Robert De Niro, Chaz Palminteri. Everyone else can't act.
Yeah,
there are no actors.
There's a felon in it. The kid that started it is a big-time felon now. But there's great scenes in that movie, like when the bikers are in the. It's totally unrealistic, but when the bikers.
You mean it's
are in
unrealistic that the fat guy somehow manages to squeeze himself up against the little guy at the bar? He goes, "Ah!" Like,
yeah. So
this movie is stupid and it sucks.
So there's these like old Italian guys. There's like 3 of them, fat old Italian guys, and there's like 80 bikers in this bar. You've seen it on the internet, and it's kind of cool though because you go like, oh boy, like, he kindly asks them to leave, they won't leave, and then they go, okay, we'll leave just 1 beer. So he buys them all beers, and then they end up spraying the beers on the bartender, which is stupid anyway. And so he goes, okay, he locks the door. He goes, now you can't leave. Again, you're supposed to believe there's 30 bikers in this bar. None of them are armed, and they're just all there to fisticuffs. There's rules to our rumbles. And these 3 fat Italians can all of a sudden take on this Benetton ad of racist and creeds that are these bikers. And you're saying, no, the bikers would kill all of you. They'd be happy that you locked the door. They'd rob you of all your belongings and kill you. I don't believe that you could beat the bikers. Like, you're old Chaz Palminteri, you're a great actor. But let's be honest. You're not taking one of these bikers on one-on-one. Just because you're in the mob doesn't mean that you're a trained fighter.
And all of it is so ham-handed and obvious.
He's like a bus driver. Why are you not liking me? I'm a bus driver.
Yeah, every plot point, it's like, the kid, he makes 17 straight passes in a row, and then he wants more money, and and he falls for the gun. I defy you to sit down and watch it again and say, oh, yeah, this is really
good.
It's
perfect for the internet because they can chop it up into little scenes.
Right, and if you watch it in
5-second
clips, it looks like a great movie.
Yes, it does. In fairness, it does. If you've seen it on Instagram, that scene with the bikers, again, looks cool.
Yes.
But it's really dumb, but it looks cool. But as a movie, it's funny that you mentioned that movie because I did watch it. I don't hate it, but it's boring. I think anything that involves the mob is going to get a lot of love from a lot of people. The thing that I stand by with Dazed and Confused is that, again, much like the show The Bear, it's brought to, and I love Richard Linklater. I like his films, but the idea that this is a comedy, well, then nothing funny happened.
Well, this is.
You know, Wooderson, how's it going, man?
And that's why I have a board. Just so I could do that right there. Not funny. Oh, my God, is that not funny? And that unleashed Matthew McConaughey upon the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like young girls. Why? Because I'm a pedophile.
All right.
All right. Him and John Wayne Gacy high-fiving. Killing kids in the kitchen.
I'm not getting a lot of pushback on Twitter on Wallach's La La Land take. I think people are on board with you, John.
Okay. Good. Oh, boy. You know, I didn't like Ishtar.
I thought for sure he was going to say
Ishtar.
Howard the Duck.
I thought George Lucas had something better in him than Howard the Duck. I was a big fan of the comic. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
More Toucher and Hardy on the... to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Yeah, you can email us. Jon is how John spells his last name. Funny. He took the H out because he's going to hell because he turned his back on his religion. Hardy at 98.5 Sports Hub. Toucher is how they spell my last name on the radio. And you can email me at 98.5 Sports Hub or follow us at Toucher and Hardy or at Fred Toucher, where there's full pornography available for you. Steve, go ahead.
Hey, boys. Good morning. On the movie bit, I got one, Freddie, that I think you might be with me on. Boondock Saints. Terrible, terrible movie set in Boston. Everybody loves this movie. Everyone talks about it. I went and watched it. Horrific movie. And I like Willem Dafoe, by the way. Terrible movie.
I couldn't get through it. I could not get through the whole thing.
Yeah, and you know what's when we first moved here, when I first moved here, that was like something that was a difficult thing to get through, but people would get mad.
Remember they made a sequel and we had the entire cast in studio? Billy Connolly led them all in.
Billy Connolly, who did Head of the Class, so you had to treat him with a little bit of respect. He replaced Howard Hessman on Head of the Class.
Billy Connolly came into studio when you guys first started here?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh. When the show within the first year of the new show. Yep,
yeah, and we had the whole Boondock Saints, and the kid was a tragic figure. The guy who was the director, because they did a documentary about him, and while they were filming it, he got a record deal, and they greenlit Boondock Saints, which he wrote and directed. So he had like all the stuff going for him, and then it all was garbage.
Now, is he also the man behind Boondock Saints 2, All Saints Day?
Yeah, that's what they came in for.
That's what they came in to promote. That's why they were there.
Yeah. Yeah, but now it's pretty universally thought of as a bad film. But at the time when we were on the air, like we made fun of it.
Okay.
Or more, I made fun of it.
Oh.
And then everyone yelled at me, and everyone let them yell at me. And, well, they ignored that they were part of the show, too. Not you, John. You weren't here yet.
D-Moore77 says, Wolf of Wall Street, very overrated. Bronx Tale is great. Sorry, guys. Well, if you think Bronx Tale is great, then I'm going to dismiss your opinion of Wolf of Wall Street, which is a movie I've probably watched 3 times at least. In its entirety.
I liked Wolf of Wall Street.
I think that's a really good movie.
What I don't like is the real Wolf of Wall Street. Like now, what is it about cautionary tales that make people love the character and want to emulate the character? Like Scarface. It's almost like people's attention spans, they can't get through the whole entire movie. Like Wolf of Wall Street, like he's rich for about like 2 years, and then everything falls apart. He has no money, then he's rich, then he's a criminal and goes to jail. Like, he had a boat for like a year. People don't seem, and then now the guy's all over like podcasts.
Right.
Like talking about how great it is. Here's a good one. It's from Josh. I actually emailed him back. Fred, I got the David Allen Coe joke when you were talking about Darius Rucker. Your co-host did not. I cackled, which I rarely do, and I sent it back to him, and I said, thank you, Josh. I mean, how many of my great lines and references throughout a show will get wasted on these two?
What was the line?
Oh, something about David Allen Coe. I can't remember the line, but I was talking about...
It sounds like it was really fun.
I was talking about, well, when you ask someone to explain a joke, in the moment, it was hysterical.
No, but just the reference alone, that's a...
It was about a racist country artist and talking about Darius Rucker being a country artist. I think that the two fit together like peanut butter and chocolate, quite frankly.
Ashley says you're wrong, Fred. The whole Marky Mark and Patriots Day, he's the man for the job thing worked because it's not just him showing him the name of the restaurants. He's pointing out which restaurants have cameras, and he's worked that beat for years, and he can easily call out which of those businesses have cameras along with where they face. So that's why he was helpful in that scene. You missed it. Go back and watch Patriots Day again.
Wait, what?
The scene that you said, Mark Wahlberg comes in and goes, that's that place, and, that he was,
Yeah, he gives the geography of Back Bay.
But the reason why they brought him in is because he knew which businesses had cameras and which way the cameras were facing. That's why he was helpful.
So the FBI wouldn't have been able to go to the businesses and say, where are your cameras?
That's
and where
correct.
do they face?
They were busy. Thank you, Ashley, for pointing out Fred
Ashley
was wrong.
loves Mark Wahlberg.
Again.
And, okay, so let's take Ashley's point.
Yeah.
So Mark Wahlberg, by being a local Boston cop, knew where every business on Beacon Street had their cameras and which way they were facing.
That's right.
By being a Boston cop.
That's right.
Yeah. Didn't work from any notes at all.
He was just Sergeant O'Leary walking the beat.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, can we have all the Boston cops? I think so. How many people live in Boston? Like 1 million, say. And how many businesses? Like you have intimate knowledge of everything going on in the city at all times.
Every Boston cop tends to look up when they're walking, checking out all the cameras as they go by.
Can I think you could just use one of your the drones you have that are like the size of a mosquito and just have them fly in and get all the information you need in 10 seconds. No, it is 2000. The movie was probably made in 2019. Like there was technology around those times. Here's one from Steve. And strangely enough, his last name is Doherty.
Oh.
Great show. Love the television references and all the 90210 references. At some point, please discuss the greatest 90210 episode ever. Actor Wings Hauser is Jonesy. Dylan is forced into rehab, but being the rebel he is, he wears a what? Do you know? He wears a hat. Do you remember what the hat is? It's a Rolling Stones
Rolling
hat.
Stones that he got while he was in rehab the day before he got out.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Jonesy says, take that hat off. That's not what this group's about. That symbolizes sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And Dylan says, I'm not taking the hat off, Jonesy.
See, the crew went to the Rolling Stones concert. It was one of those episodes where they were on the Steel Wheels tour, and it was just to promote the tour. So the crew all went there. Steve Sanders got locked out, couldn't get into VIP. It was a bad scene. So Dylan was in rehab. He couldn't go, so they got him a hat.
Yeah, and he was like, I'm not taking this off, I guess.
Two of them wound up being playwrights together, he and Jonesy.
Oh, boy. 2 movies
well done.
Alex says that are not good. The Big Lebowski, I couldn't agree more. But The Big Lebowski, I don't get to such a point that I figure it's probably good and I'm just too dumb.
I didn't like it in the theater, and I watched it again, and then I liked it.
Yeah, like
Which is the same. By the way, Boogie Nights, I did not like in the theater. It's not what I thought it was going to be.
What did you think it was going to be?
Less than 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
Not probably serious.
Even I knew what the plot was going in.
Yeah. That movie was if it wasn't about porn, I would have been out. But the fact that it was about the golden age of pornography, I was very
Big
excited.
Lebowski.
And then I didn't know
insisted upon.
anything about what's his name, Johnny Watt. What's the guy's name?
Mark Wahlberg? John Holmes.
I didn't know anything about John Holmes or anything, and we learned a little bit about it, and like the Wonderland murders. I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting.
In the scene they did an actual, like, line-by-line interview that John Holmes had done with the director. That one where he's with Burt Reynolds, and they're talking, and he goes, I take the script, and I, will direct my own scenes.
Oh,
the guy
yeah.
goes, no, you don't. That's actually, you can look on YouTube. That's actually a John Holmes. They did that to poor John Holmes.
Oh, it was Julianne Moore who was doing the interview, though.
Yeah.
That's my poem to you, baby.
Yeah, Big Lebowski. I figure there's some movies, like, I know what's going on with the movie that I didn't like, Dazed and Confused. It's weed. It's just because kids are smoking weed, and you all thought you were, like, being all badass by watching it. I know that, but the Big Lebowski is, like, kind of, I guess, clever, so I don't really know what's going on. So that's my own stupidity. Alex also says Glengarry Glen Ross.
Which I think is fantastic. I mean, it was a play. They added the Alec Baldwin scene just for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, I mean, if for no other reason, and if you care anything about old actors, watching Jack Lemmon in that movie, it's like, oh, that's why Ving Rhames, when he won an Academy Award, I think, or maybe it was a Golden Globe, Jack Lemmon was there, and he said, that's the man that I'm giving this award to him. That's the actor that made me want to be an actor. And I'm like, Jack Lemmon, why? Watch Glengarry Glen Ross. Then you get it.
Right. Just watch Grumpier Old Men. Not Grumpy Old Men. Grumpier old Men.
Okay. They see, I don't like that when they're too grumpy.
No, they're too grumpy for their own good.
Yeah, exactly.
They had to find another chick where they both get hot chicks at the end. and Grumpy Old Man. Because
Who
Jack Lemmon's
are
already...
the women in Grumpy Old Man?
Sophia Loren
right?
ends up with Walter Matthau because Jack Lemmon's already with Anne Margaret.
Right.
Or Anne Margrock from her time on the Flintstones. We'll call Anne Margrock.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Very good. Someone emailed me and they said, Bob says, Fred, a bad sign when the talk turns to old movies and old TV shows. It means you don't have anything new and creative to talk about. It's boring. I say, Bob, you were absolutely correct.
It's the All-Star break, Bob.
Bob, what do you want from us, Bob? I mean, it's a segment of a very long week of shows. You got to give us a little leeway here, Bobby.
Wait till Wednesday.
By Wednesday, we're going to be doing our early Halloween candy bracket.
Or we're just going to go back to March Madness again. Don't dare us to. How dare you? All right, we'll be back with the stack in just a moment.
Sports Hub.
right, the Stack is brought to you by Best Ford in Nashua, our good friends. They poke their heads out every now and again. Our friends at Best Ford in Nashua, looking for great deals on new Fords. Go to the Best Ford in Nashua. Head to thebestfordnh.com.
Hi, Fred.
Hi. Hi.
You remember the submersible that went down to look at the Titanic and things went very, very poorly?
Yeah, I assume that's how Dr. Ruth Westheimer died.
No.
Richard Simmons?
No, those were very recent. This happened a while back.
Oh.
But the company, so there is one company that owns the salvage rights to the Titanic. Somebody purchased this.
How do you do that?
Grady.
Okay.
Mr. Sanford.
Well,
Elizabeth, they're going to come take me under the sea.
Lamont was actually on top of it. He purchased it, but then he sold it to Grady. Anyway, the company that owns the salvage rights to the Titanic is making its first expedition to the ship's wreckage in years. And apparently those involved in the mission say they have heavy hearts and lofty goals when it comes to going down and undoubtedly going to see some evidence, I would think, of the submersible that imploded. And they brought that back up. They're not going to look for any of that stuff, Dan?
I think when it imploded, I mean, isn't it the pieces that they did find, they brought up to the surface?
Well, the pieces that they found so far. But
okay.
Now they're going back down. And they call it a monumental undertaking. They're going to document the Titanic in new detail. But it's also probably going to be going to the same place.
Can I ask?
Almost certainly we'll find some wreckage of the submersible.
A sincere question.
Yeah,
why the fascination of the Titanic with all the people that have died over all the years and the inevitable death that we all have faced? Why, in the tragic and sometimes bizarre ways that people have died? Look no further than the star of the show Kung Fu as a man who died doing something very bizarre. Why the Titanic? Like, why is it that the Titanic has got people still like interested in it enough to risk their lives to just go and look at it?
I think it's because of the irony. This was the ship that God himself couldn't sink. This was billed as unsinkable. Not only did it sink, it sank its first time out.
Yeah, but stuff like that has happened. Like the Led Zeppelin situation, the Hindenburg.
Yeah, but that wasn't it. They didn't say it was an airship that couldn't go down, and it wasn't its first voyage. I mean, this was and again, you talk about how different things were 40 years ago when Reagan was shot. This is over 100 years ago when everyone's talking about the Titanic. This is transatlantic travel. This is the way to do it. And wow, now we've got the biggest new ship in the world. It can't sink, and it's going to be this big thing, and everybody's talking about it ahead of time.
I don't doubt that.
And then it sinks.
Yeah, I don't doubt that 100 years ago. I'm not debating that. I'm just talking about. I'm interested in that. Why now, today, of all the things that have happened during the course of the life on this planet, that the Titanic still garners headlines. I understand the movie was a big hit.
Not the first time people have been down to examine the wreckage.
No, and there's I would imagine
I see
tons and tons and tons of wreckage beneath the sea from terrible, terrible things that have happened.
What are they hoping to discover? They're just going for the submersible pieces? That's the only reason.
Yeah, and who cares about that?
Seriously, why?
No. That's this is their first trip down there since the submersible.
Oh, because it sounded like they might be looking for some submersible.
I got the same thing. So
a submersible going down for a submersible is a lot of submersible stuff.
I understand.
That's to get a ball gag in your mouth.
You have any? Wow. You have any interest in Sammy Hagar being out on tour?
Oh yeah, of course I do.
Sure.
Is he with Chickenfoot or no?
Okay, all-star band.
I know who's in it.
Go ahead.
Joe Satriani.
Very good.
Is it? It's got. Okay, so I know it's Joe Satriani. Is it Michael Anthony on bass?
Anthony.
All right, and now is the drummer? Now I'm guessing. Okay, so Sammy Hagar looks great, by the way, but he's in his 70s.
Yeah,
late 70s, I think. The drummer is got to be John Bonham's kid, Jason Bonham.
Oh,
Well done.
Whoa!
I didn't know
I
that.
knew those first two. I didn't know the drummer.
Well,
That's
Michael
pretty
Anthony's
good.
an easy guess.
He
I
and
knew
Michael Anthony
Jo-
are buddies.
I knew
You
Joe
know.
Satriani, but I did guess Jason Bonham.
I saw a clip of Sammy Hagar with Stern, and he was going on and on about how Satriani had to figure out how Eddie Van Halen did some of his solos.
Yeah, the tonality of everything.
Yeah.
They say Eddie didn't play through any pedals, which I do not believe. But because if you're going to get like an iconic drummer from that era, like an iconic drummer in their 70s, because drums is a very physical instrument to play. There probably isn't one, right? So you have to go to John Bonham.
Jason Bonham.
Yeah, John Bonham's kid.
Yeah.
Like, because John Bonham died, so you go to his kid, which is like the next incarnation of John Bonham, and then you
But he's
got
gotta
your
be in
iconic
his-
drummer.
How old is that kid now?
I'm going to guess that he's 59 years old.
58.
Good call. Look at you.
Round of applause for Fred all over the place. Make it up for John's poor performance during 90210 trivia.
So my question is, what does Sammy Hagar's set list look like?
Oh, very good question, John. 21 songs, 12 Van Halen songs.
How many times did
in
he play
the set.
Three Lock Box?
Yeah, Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy. I mean,
No,
let's
just
go.
Three Lock Box.
Any Montrose stuff?
No, just Three Lock Box.
Open and closed with I Can't Drive 55. You started with the song Good Enough from Van Halen's 5150 album.
It's first song, right? First song of the album.
I didn't buy 5150 because I wasn't a trader. I was an eat 'em and smile guy.
One of 12 songs the
good
band
album.
performed from the Van Hagar era of Van Halen.
Boo.
Now, they also played 2 David Lee Roth era songs. Which ones did they play?
I'm going to guess they
Panama.
played Unchained. Somebody give me a doctor.
Ice Cream Man.
Ice Cream Man. No, they did Ain't Talking About Love with Michael
Well,
Anthony.
Unchained counts. All right, so
Okay, all right.
that's split the difference.
But Michael Anthony was on lead vocals for that. Sammy wasn't going to try on that. And Panama, as well as a bit of Jump, as part of a 3-song medley.
Yeah, because if you get Fair Warning era Van Halen, I think you're in the ballpark enough. Because it Ain't Talking About Love and Unchained are the 2 best Van Halen songs of all time. They happen to be on a bad album. Fair Warning, not a solid album front to back, but the 2 best songs in Van Halen's catalog on that record.
I'm not saying I would like go out of my way to see it, but I mean, they opened with Good Enough. They went into Pound Cake, which I always thought was
Down home. I think he's talking about pound and butt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh God, there's
Does he play 3 Lock Box? All I gotta know is he plays 1, 2, 3 Lock Box. When MTV first started, they would play 3 Lock Box, and it was Sammy Hagar in a red leather, because there was like 5 people who made videos, and it's Sammy Hagar in a red leather suit.
Yeah.
Dancing around this alone, no band, dancing around this box. And when I was a kid, I'm like, what is this crap? Isn't it funny? Like, my memory, because they would show videos, and I'd
Should
be like,
I like this?
so fascinated by exactly. That's exactly what was going on.
Should I like
So
this?
I was so fascinated by
Awful.
MTV. It was like so
Yeah,
novel.
right.
I would watch it for hours, mesmerized.
Sure.
And they would play 3 Lock Box, and I would think to myself, I'm supposed to like this. I know I'm supposed to like this, but it's so terrible, visually and audio wise. And what was going on in the country that 3 Lock Box, people consumed it on purpose.
I remember having the same thing when I saw the video for Lou Reed's "I Love You, Suzanne."
Oh, I
and
don't
it was
remember
like
that.
early on in the MTV days. I'm like, is this cool? Am I supposed to like this? Because this sucks.
Yeah.
This guy can't sing, and the song sucks. I don't get it.
There would just be a video that you'd just be like, whoa, what's going on here? This is just embarrassing. All right. That'll do it for us. Everyone enjoy your days. Bye.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.